the way it's gonna like pop up. So now that people have had like ample time to join, I'm gonna share my screen and we'll just kind of chat. Basically, this is like pre-kitten season, super like open to like asking questions and sharing experiences. We'll start by kind of going over the types of kitties that you're going to see posted by Amber. And then we'll go into the next kind of sections about like where you keep the kitties and like show off what everybody does, give ideas to each other. And then we'll talk a little bit more about some other stuff.
Not giving Amber your address either, apparently.
Yeah, that's actually true. We have all of your guys' addresses, birthdays, everything. Haha. Because you gave it to us when you signed up to foster.
Well, and Joy just posted that updated list of where you live too.
Yeah, but there's no actual addresses on there.
It's just a section of town.
Yeah.
Otherwise strangers will leave kitties on your doorstep.
Okay, so I know normally presenters don't really ask this, but do you guys like it better if I'm screen sharing? Do you want to be able to see all the people, or do you want to just see my presentation?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter? Okay, I'm gonna do all the people because I'm also gonna have some people pop on and show off like live views of their room. And then I'll bring it like to full screen so that way we can see like live views. So we can like talk and, you know, ask questions about like real life situations. Okay, let me get everything set up.
All the pictures.
Oh,
go babies.
I know, Kim, my daughter wants your orange and white one when you're ready to pass them off.
Oh, I'm going on vacation on February like 8th or 9th.
Yeah, but don't they need a lot of bottle feeding though.
Oh, those do right now. I have others that eat food.
Who do you have that eats food?
Whoever's going to be left that doesn't get adopted next weekend.
Let me know. We could probably babysit.
Yeah, she'll have her gnomes.
Well, hopefully the gnomes, the orange ones, hopefully they'll get adopted.
Oh yeah, that's true. Okay.
I just have Nomeo that's not ready.
That's true. Okay, so to kind of start, yeah, we've got bottle babies. So I put a good like age range on here of like, obviously like the top ones, you can see like their ears are completely folded, their eyes are completely down. Those guys we estimated them at like what, like 3 days or like just a couple days, like 3 or 4 days old.
One of them was missing an umbilical cord already, and then the other one is really dry.
Can you make it full screen, Melissa? It's kind of like
hard to see.
Pinky off to one side.
Yeah, let me reshare. Was that better? Can you guys just see just the presentation? Okay.
Yeah, that's
okay. So I can share the videos again when we pop back in and out. I'll just switch back and forth. So bottle babies. And like obviously especially if you're new to fostering, great to take notes. Because there's a lot of experienced fosters in this group chat. But for bottle babies, obviously we kind of get the idea they are bottle fed babies, right? So these guys, they need heat support. This is like the first 3 weeks of life. They pretty much live in a box. They don't need much more than like 2x2 at most area, like even some like a 1x1 area. We'll kind of talk more about containers later, but like a lot of these can live in carriers, like just cat carriers, and with a heater and like a heating pad or a heat disc, a stuffed animal. I personally like to go to Target and I go to the baby section and I buy a stuffed animal when I have bottle babies. So they have like a soft fuzzy mama to suckle on. And then usually I'll send it home with them when they get adopted. My boyfriend's parents adopted a cat from me when the cat was like really little. I gave him a hippo, and 5 years later, he still has that hippo. But these guys know only you. If they are hissing, it's just because they don't know your smell. It's not because they can hear you, because they can't hear shit. They can't smell anything, nothing. So, and then we got Charlie over in the corner, and Charlie is like that age where like his teeth are starting to come through. He's going to be like biting down on stuff more. He's going to be chewing that nipple more because his molars and his incisors are going to start to pop through, but he's not quite ready to eat wet food yet at this age. Was like him at like 2.5-ish weeks, maybe 3 weeks. And then once their molars are fully erupted in the back, then you can start offering the wet food. And that's at like 3.5 to like 3.5-ish weeks, depending on the cat. Like each one is different, especially since we don't know their actual age. But like these guys are so easy because you don't have to even offer them a litter box, right? Like you just stimulate them to go to the bathroom. But you also have to wake up every couple of hours. You guys will always hear me telling you that don't wake up in the middle of the night unless your baby's crying. I don't know any of my mom friends who like wake their baby to put a boob in their mouth.
Oh, I did.
Unless your baby is sick. So, but obviously, like, correct me if I'm wrong.
Heck
like,
no.
I only woke my
Kept them
daughter
on
up
a
one
schedule.
time. Yeah, no, I only woke my daughter up one time when she didn't wake up on her own, and she screamed for 4 hours. Never again. You only get up when they want it.
Oh,
Never wake a sleeping baby. Never, ever, unless they're blue.
Yeah, with bottle babies, like, unless you're concerned because they haven't been eating well, they're maybe cold, or they're like not breathing well or anything, like you don't need to wake them up to eat. They'll wake up and let you know when they want to eat. But if they're going more than like 6 hours, then yeah, we should be waking them up to eat. But you don't have to wake them up every 2 hours at night. You can let them sleep for 4 hours and then wake up, you know. I know that there's a lot of places that are going to say you have to bottle feed them every 2 hours on the hour, but mom goes hunting for 6 to 8 hours a day. So mom will leave them in a soft, warm area, and she leaves them for 6 to 8 hours a day to go hunt, which is why we stress to people to not steal babies. So,
But they don't.
good. Remember to get your sleep. Otherwise, you start to go insane.
I follow kind of like humans, babies feed. They're going to cluster feed starting at like late afternoon, 2 or 3. They start cluster feeding, so more frequent feedings, every hour. So I'll feed more often from like 2 to 8 or 9 at night, and then I can sleep for like 5 or 6 hours, and they don't care. So just kind of, really, the schedules are kind of meh. So don't stress yourself out.
And I've found that like certain kittens of mine, so the concentration of KMR, like the powder, says that you do 1 scoop of powder for every 2 scoops of water. But I've had kittens that like won't eat that. But if I do 1 scoop of powder for every 3 scoops of water, they will eat that. So like for some reason, they prefer a more watered down formula. And as long as they are gaining and pooping well, I'm okay with that. They just prefer the taste better. I don't know. Cats are weird. But yeah, it was something that they just preferred better.
I found there's a helpful chart in Kitten Lady and in other resources also that tell you the amount that they should have for a daily amount with their age and their weight, like their weight range. And I found that to be the most helpful, because if I know that they've gotten enough, I don't stress at night about not getting up with them. Like these little ones, I have the orange and the white ones right now, and they're great feeders. And they are just about a week old now, and they go anywhere between 2.5 hours to like 5 hours, and the 5 hour
It's in the handbook.
at night. It's in the handbook too? Okay.
The chart's in the handbook as well as on the Facebook page.
And I like that because
And
there's some days where I need it with my schedule to feed them more in a certain time. And as long as I know that I filled their bellies to that capacity, and I found that they grow, I'm never like with those kittens, now that I follow that, I tend not to have like failing kittens as much, you know what I mean, with their weight. That as long as they're getting the amount that they need, it doesn't seem like, instead of the schedule where they tell you every 2 hours, well, you could be putting 90 mLs in them when you're only supposed to be putting 40 in, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think the charts really help. But then remember, like, the charts are also like a guideline. They're not Bible.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I know you don't take them as Bible, but like, I remember like when I first started following the kitten lady, I took her charts as the Bible and would freak out if my kittens weren't eating as much as she said they were supposed to be eating. And then I realized that like, it's okay.
Yeah. One in the litter may and one may not, depending on their size or their belly, you know, or what they need.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure this is Malibu.
Oh, on the far left, that's not Malibu. No, but that
Who
is my
that?
baby.
It's one of yours.
That was Fire and Rain. That was
Yes.
the one that now that's Sashiko and Saki and Sashiko. But yeah, that's her. That's Chris's birdie.
Joy will
Some other
recognize the
birdie.
black one.
Oh,
I stole that one from Joy.
That one's mine.
that one's
Mushers-
that's not my black one.
That's
Mushers are
mine
just
in the middle.
disgusting. They're
Joy,
disgusting.
the black one was yours, but you didn't take the photo. That was his intake photo, but you did take that kitten.
Oh, I did. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I've had so many kittens at this point. I don't even know who I have anymore.
I know. I'm right there with you. Yeah, and then the top one is Kim's photo.
Flat right into it.
So I think, and Alex will agree with me on this one, Mush Baby, I think, is probably our most important topic, and like theme. So when Amber posts that we have a kitten that may be like a mush kitten, or we call it a mush baby. What we're referring to is this weird stage that you see in front of you of kitten that's like super awkward. While it's the most fun stage of kitten, it's also the most disgusting age of kitten. They're gross, they're awkward, sometimes they're skinny, sometimes they're fat, sometimes they're like weird, and they're always dirty and they always smell, and they're learning how to use the litter box at this age. So this is like 3.5 to like 5 weeks old. Like 3.5 to like 5.5-ish weeks, depending on the actual kitten themselves. And this baby needs to be fed wet food, whether that is wet food in a mix with kitten milk replacer or KMR, or whether that is just pate, or maybe they despise both of those options and they think that you should jump off a cliff for offering them, and they would prefer shreds, or they would prefer that you like blend something. Like, this is the age where they like really are like the pickiest, and they have the weirdest palates, and one day they'll just absolutely love a flavor of food, and the next day they would rather die than eat any sort of flavor that you're offering them. And it might not be that anything is wrong, it just might be that you're offering the wrong flavor, and how dare you do it. So this is the age where like, yeah, we do give you the majority like turkey or chicken wet food, but like also we have backups of other flavors. And so if you've got this age and they're not eating and their poop is fine, let us know, because one of us has a smorgasbord of different types of food flavors, and that's probably what we'll try first, is different food flavors, or like adding tuna water onto the food just to like entice them to eat a little bit, because they're just being picky. And I've had kittens that completely have missed the mush baby phase and gone straight to pate and like eating dry food from the bottle, you don't always get mush babies, but we call them mush babies because they're in that age. Like they're getting their teeth, they're learning how to eat food, and they like have no sense of direction. Their eyes are very fuzzy. You'll see they're always blue. They're always that like kind of blue-gray colored eyes because they actually don't have full vision. So their eyes are very, like what they see is very blurry. What they hear is not as crisp and clear as like a normal cat. And they're super naughty. Like they eat things that they shouldn't, like litter. So at this age, you're also going to want to make sure that they have paper or pine like litter and not anything that's small enough for them to completely ingest, because they'll just 100% like stick their middle finger up to your food and then go into the litter box and take a whole mouthful of it for fun. And then when they walk out, they like flop over because they have no sense of balance. It's great and adorable. This is like the best age, but also a hard age. So, yeah, that's what I have to say about this age.
Erin and I think have the same recipe for the mushers. Yeah. Like we both, and it works.
Yeah.
Like as far as
you want to talk about that, since you guys are like your pro recipes, because Erin,
which I haven't done in a while. I haven't done in a while, but it's usually it's definitely pate. It has to be pate. Like it just doesn't work as well with the others. I mean, unless I have not yet come across one that wants shreds over pate, but it's like pate with some formula, water, mushed. Like they just in it, but it has to be but I don't know, you have to play with the ratio as far as what your kitten likes, but they just, as long as you get that, it has to be pate with water and the form, they just, for some reason it's easy for
warm
water. So they really just, and he's the chef, so he knows.
If he was here right now, he would be already jumping in with you, that, and like being like, this is how you do it.
Well, I mean, it's not really like any science. It's just, I have found that works so far for any of them I've had, it's worked. And it can be thinned out if they're still being picky and you need to like put it through a syringe or, because
every time that I make it, he looks at me and he goes, and I'm like, they're not eating it. And he's like, cause you made it wrong. And then he'll go make it. And then the cat eats it right away.
It's the consistency and it's love. You're like, eat, just whatever, eat.
And if you're using a leftover can, I always warm up that can in the microwave in the bowl before I add the milk powder in the warm water, because they do not like it even cool.
Mm-hmm. I think it's super important that Kim just said microwave the food in the bowl.
Not in the can.
Please don't put the aluminum in the microwave.
I've 100% at 3:00 in the morning almost put the can in the microwave.
If you hit the 99-cent store, last year we scored and got tons. I can go find them with these tons of these little plastic bowls with rubber bottoms so they didn't slide.
Dollar Tree has
probably have about 10 of those bad boys but I had I've had shred kittens that would not eat anything but shreds with gravy. And I just take a fork and smash the shreds up so they're more like manageable. Mm-hmm. But I've had the mush kittens that absolutely did not want you to make the slop. They wanted either the pate straight up or they wanted the shreds with the gravy, but they absolutely do not mush.
It just depends on their palate, They're sophisticated kittens.
Spoiled.
She's raising her hand because she's adorable.
I mean, Linus went straight to kibble. He was like, I'm not mushing it, no way. I want kibble, only kibble.
Yeah. As long as they have teeth where like they can chew it and you're watching them, if they are this age and they refuse to eat mush, you can offer kibble as long as you are monitoring them, because sometimes you just have to, like, if that's all they want. But you just have to make sure that it's a small brand of kibble and you're watching them to make sure that they don't like try and take in too much and then choke on it.
Yeah, inherent preferences in just like individual cats is absolutely a thing. Like out in the field, I've had luck with catching with dry food, cats that were not coming in and not coming in for any type of wet food, any type of fish offering like that. And then I said, why don't I try shaking some temptations? And it worked. So,
Oh yeah.
I bet
yeah.
it's just like from the time that they're babies.
Yeah. And like sometimes, especially when we get these like cats off the street, they are not familiar with these like fancy foods that we're giving them. They would much rather prefer some Friskies.
That meow mix, dude.
Meow mix. I was just gonna say.
And like, if we wanted, it's great. We need to transition them over to a higher quality food, absolutely. But if we're gonna transition them, it needs to be a gradual transition. Because you're right. Like they don't want our Royal Canin baby cat. They want their garbage.
Hey, who's getting Royal Canin baby cat?
No one, but people buy it for themselves.
Like, wait a minute. Well, hello?
Yeah. I was gonna say, I buy my own.
There are fosters who still buy it for themselves, but like sometimes these cats don't want it. They want garbage because they're used to eating garbage.
Or that nasty stuff in the tube.
Yeah.
That stuff. Gross.
So, our next one is probably everybody's favorite. These are the easy ones. These are the kittens. So these are the, my bad. Sorry guys, hold on.
Can we go back to Musher for just a sec?
Yeah.
One thing I like about Mushers is they're still in that molding phase for their personality. So in my opinion, so, like, for example, I have Kitten right now and she is like full on in her personality and I'm having to learn her instead of like kind of them getting from me and then also from my cats. She is so independent, this girl. I love her. She's cute as can be, but like I'm really having to learn her. So I feel like at Musher, you kind of have that ability to kind of start molding them into how you want to socialize them a little easier. And then when they get to Kitten, they're just, they're easy peasy.
Yeah. They're kind of already in that personality, but like you can still make them social. Like if they're feral, they're still sociable. But Musher babies, like, yeah, you can totally take a little sack of a kitten and make it into whatever personality type you kind of want them to be almost.
Kind of.
Not
always, yeah. There's some ingrained things in them.
Correct, yeah.
I found that they seem to appreciate patterns a lot.
Because I had mine and I could not mold them.
I think they all took little bits of your personality, Christine.
That black one's midnight, isn't it?
What were you saying?
I said that black one must be midnight.
Oh yeah, I think it was.
Because then I didn't get her brother till like a week later.
I think it was.
Oh, but I think that just like consistency and offering them a routine that's going to help them to feel safe really does work. That's how I made progress with cats at PAC that were considered the red dot cats that are just staff only. No one else handles them. Avoiding eye contact, speaking to them very, very softly and slowly. If they come and make eye contact with you, you can slow blink at them to say, thank you. Yes, I do trust you. And little things like that. And you do that every day, it starts to add up with the animal. And I mean, it's worked with me with adults, and I won't say it'll work on every cat, but that's the way to kind of put that olive branch forward and be like, you're safe with me. I'm not going to hurt you. This is what you're going to get from me every day.
Yeah.
Because I start, when I have them at Mushers, it's like I start them, like we talked about, just the routine and the consistency. So I've heard a lot of fosters say mine are waking me up early in the morning. I can't put them in the bathroom because at 5 o'clock in the morning, they're going bananas or whatever. Personally, I haven't had that problem because I start them at Musher where they learn that routine. They know they're getting fed in that space. I close because I have mine in they sleep in the bathroom, and they go there at certain times of the day. They know that's their routine, and they know at night, like I give them a little something at night. And when they get that, the light goes off, and it's like, I don't get bothered until they know it's feeding time in the morning. I personally have not had a problem. Now this kitten here, she thinks like, she's like, hey girl, you're like, it's 7:30, get up. But she's also by herself. So that's just my personal experience, because I start them at Musher with a solid routine of when they're getting fed, and they know it, and then they don't bother. They don't go bananas in the bathroom.
They are creatures of habit.
Yeah. Yeah. And so they're like, but however, I like, right, before feeding time in the morning, that's when they're up and they're like, okay, lady, we know it. Let's go. And actually that's all my personal pets. They start bothering, they start bothering me. So anyway, so that's just my other thing about mushers. Hi, Patty.
So kittens, you'll see us like the kitten. Obviously we use kitten as like a general term, right? Like everybody does. We use it for adults, we use it for babies, we use it for everything. But in this instance, when we are looking for a foster for a kitten, that is typically that we're looking for a foster for a kitten the age of about 5 to 5.5 weeks to about 9-10 weeks, maybe like 12 to 14 weeks even. We're gonna kind of push that to like 3 months, maybe 3.5 to 4 months at the most. So we're really like in that, like, this is the easy age. This is the age where there's not a lot going on with them. They aren't as, they don't get as sick as easily. Yes, they do get sick. Absolutely, of course, but they don't get sick as easily, and they don't crash and burn as easily. They're eating dry food and wet food. Around like 8 to 10 weeks, we start like weaning down the amount of like 6 to 10 weeks in that area. We're starting to like really cut down the amount of dry food that we're feeding them, or wet food that we're feeding them, and like increase the amount of dry. When you have kittens at this age, dry food should be available at all times. If they're not eating the dry food, we need to potentially switch brands to see if they just don't like that brand. Because cats are finicky to shapes and sizes and smell. And so if they don't like that shape of food, they won't eat it. And that's, with cats and kittens, we see it a lot, or the smell. So if they're eating mostly dry food, we can just do like, the wet food, a small amount in the morning and a small amount at night, just to help them gain weight. This is the age where they're getting their first vaccine at 8 weeks. Is that you, Mr. Finley? They're getting their first vaccine at 8 weeks. They are getting fixed once they hit 2 pounds and over 8 weeks. They are, Amber, we can I got you. I muted you. So yeah, they're getting their first vaccines at 8 weeks. They are making sure that they get fixed at 8 weeks and 2 pounds. Alex and I do our best to make sure that you get on the schedule to be vaccinated, which means that you're just going to get an invite on Facebook for your vaccines. If your kitten's hitting about 8 weeks and you haven't gotten an invite for vaccines, most likely you have missed the invite or we forgot about you. So message me if you don't see it and you're hitting about 8 weeks, or take a look on Facebook and look at our events in the Facebook group, and likely you're missing an invite on there. So those invites happen all the time. We do vaccines at 8 weeks, 12 weeks, and then 16 weeks. Obviously that will change if we like miss a week, or if, we start vaccines at a different age, like if we started at 10 weeks, or 9 weeks rather than 8 weeks, but you get the picture. It's every 3 weeks. And then this is the age that they go up for adoption. So like, this is the age that we normally see them go and find their forever homes. These kitties are ready to leave. They're ready to go away. What is Amber doing?
Caught somebody.
Spicy Michael. Or not Spicy Mike. She has a Mr. Friendly.
It's Mr. Friendly. I'm trying to make him love me, but he doesn't love me. He hates me.
Fair enough. But yeah, this is the age where they go home. We can transition to clay, as long as they aren't walking into the litter box and opening their mouths and doing that like chomp into the litter box and like eating all the litter. This is a super easy age to do what Kim does. And Kim has like 4 litter boxes with different types of litter, or she'll like rotate out different types of litter throughout the week. So like as like the clay litter gets dirty, she'll like toss the clay litter box and then clean it and put clumping or like put corn litter in it for a couple of days and then toss that when it gets dirty and then put some pine litter in it. So that
what I do is I add the new litter on top of some of the old litter so they still smell the old litter, so they feel it underneath, but the new one is on top. And I also change my types of boxes. I have an open box, I have a top entry, and I have a closed box without a door, a flapping door. I always take the flapping doors off.
And you don't obviously have to,
but that gives them different options so that.
Oh, sorry.
No. But because by then I have a room filled with cats, and it's easier to clean boxes too and have an extra one on hand. But I have the room to throw them out in my yard when I need to wash them. But just that litter, changing over that litter, keeping a little of the original litter type so that they can have it in that box, just gets them used to that. So when they go to their adopters, they can use any litter that adopter chooses, and they're not having any accidents, you know.
But then you also have some kitties at this age that declare their litter preference, and they won't go in a litter box that does not have their litter preference. So you've got Stephanie and JP, they have Night Fury, and he will not go in the litter box if it does not have clumping clay. And a lot of the times for cats, it's the smell as well as the feeling on their paws. They don't like the feel of whatever you put down. They prefer a specific type of litter. I have my cat Dolly, she won't go in anything but clay litter. I have tried to switch over to different litters before because clay bothers my allergies because the dust, and she pees in the kitchen sink. So it's just, you know, you win and you lose some.
Yeah.
Well, at least it's in the sink. At least it's in the sink. I mean, she's very considerate that way. Does she move the dishes first before she pees? No.
Well, that's rude.
We had kittens that didn't like the corn litter and would pee in our bed.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
They only liked clay litter. Like that was the only litter they appreciated. And if you used anything else, they peed in the bed.
Yep. So. And like at first when we had those kitties, you and I talked about like, do they all collectively have a urinary tract infection? Like, is that what's happening? They just all decided to have a UTI together? What's happening? And then we were like, okay, well, let's try switching the litter. And if that doesn't work, then we'll test their urine. And then collectively they peed in the box when we switched their litter.
And it can also be the box sometimes.
Yep.
Sometimes they don't, if you have an automatic thingy, fancy schmancy, they may not like it. Like my personal cat really protested that, and they were like, nope, they took shits right outside of there. And so the towel on the floor, they peed on that. They really let us know that was not happening.
I feel like we're just shitting on cats, but like, it's because they're so picky. And I feel like if you know all the bad things that can happen, like then only good things happen.
Ours don't like, our adult cats don't like the litter box where you have to climb in through the top. So we had to go back to the one with the front opening because they would literally get in and only pee in one corner where their head could still stick out. Like they absolutely abhor the one you go inside of. So
yeah.
And some don't want to be covered at all. Like you know, they want a standard box. Like they don't want to have that. They're just, you know, assholes.
Well, Jade got a litter robot, and when she was like, "It's poop," she's peeing outside the litter box. I was like, "It's the litter robot," and she's like, "No, because she's not pooping outside of it." And then she found her dog eating the cat.
They were covering up.
They were covering up the crime. Yeah.
Yeah.
So well, she's right at 5 pounds. Right at 5 pounds. So we figure, she probably got tumbled.
Yeah.
Poor Vila.
So our next one is a pretty easy one, so we won't spend a ton of time on this one, but moms and babies, because moms and babies, we could do an entire Zoom on it, and if anybody wants to, we totally can, or we can have an individual chat about moms and babies if you want more information. But when you're fostering moms and babies, or you see pregnant mom being posted, you've got a couple of different options for what you've got looking at, right? So you've got the first corner over here, which is Valerie's baby and mama. So those are new.
You know, in that picture, she does not look like she has 8 babies. So just letting you know, I was still conned.
She got adopted yesterday, Valerie.
I know.
By a sweet old couple. It's so exciting.
Oh, it was so sweet.
So this was Amari and her 8 babies, and those babies were 4 days old, I think they approximated. So really, when you're fostering a mom and babies, you need to cater the environment to the age of the youngest that are there. So obviously mom needs a regular litter box and food and water, but you can't have babies exposed to the food and water. So Valerie had to make a setup situation where mom could jump out of her whelping box. Babies were in that little box. Mom could jump out, go potty, do her thing, eat and drink, and then jump back in to nurse her babies. Because if you put the water bowl right next to those 4-day-old babies, while they're wandering, they could climb into the water bowl and you are down a baby. So, and it happens a lot. It happens. We've been fortunate not to have it happen here, but I think it's because we like talk about it a lot. We talk about accidents and ways that cats try and kill themselves a lot because we've been to the ER quite often.
You need to post that again.
I know.
Well, with Amari, I had the babies in a litter box or in a laundry basket because she would pick them out and put them in the litter box, or she would put them in the water dish in order to get herself out of the box I put her in.
Yeah. So like sometimes like you have to be creative and figure out ways that you like, I don't know, or like like ways to like keep things out. So like sometimes you can have like raised water dishes as well, because like babies aren't going to get into like raised water bowls. So like if you can like, you know, flip a box upside down and like put the water and food up onto the box, babies can't get to it, but mom can. So then you can also have the pregnant one, which was one of Kim's on the bottom here. So, you know, pregnant is just like having an adult, but they need to eat kitten food. So the environment literally can just be soft, cozy bathroom. And you don't really have to do anything different than other than feed them kitten food. Like they're no different than a normal adult cat other than what they eat until they start queening. And then that, like I said, could be an entire phone call, an entire Zoom itself. So we won't even dive into
You get to sleep on the floor with her while she's in labor and talk to her, and then watch your baby come out.
Some cats want you to do that, and then some cats won't give birth if you're in the room.
She wanted me there, rubbing her head.
And then sometimes you can have cats like Bella, where like Bella came to us with her like 6-week-old babies. So like this baby was eating wet and dry food when he came to us and like using a regular litter box or, you know, pine litter. And so we didn't really have to like, Stephanie and JP really didn't have to like cater the environment because mom and baby were able to be in the same type of environment because they were on that same playing field of like, they can both eat wet, they can both eat dry, they can both be in the same type of litter box. So then it makes it really nice. So when you're looking at, you know, taking in moms and babies, you can kind of think about like the age groups and like when you're really looking at like the taking them in, look at like the age of the babies, and that's how you're going to have to cater the environment.
But also just remember with mamas, like, you know, it can take them a while to get adopted.
Oh yes. We've had really good luck,
It's like,
but mamas take a while to get adopted.
like Bella was with us for a bit, but yes.
I did want to share just really quickly.
Yeah.
About like mom's temperament. and respecting mom's temperament for sure. If it turns out that mama becomes very maternally defensive of her brood, it is our task as the ones caring for her to respect that and say, okay, you're going to take the lead.
Yeah.
I'm going to take care of you in the way that makes you comfortable. I just had to educate a member of our community who was just bent on getting a feral cat that was about to give birth trapped. And the approach wound up being much too aggressive, and the cat was scared off the property and trailing blood behind her, of course. And so it is an animal that was previously friendly could be hormonally influenced to regress in what's the reactivity and confidence. A confident cat can regress and say, I'm going to be very maternal. And so it's on us to keep an eye out for that and really meet mom where she's at, and
because you can
make
have
sure
a mom
she's
for
okay.
like a long time
Yeah.
that won't let you approach the babies. Like it gets to the point where you need to wait for the babies to come approach you.
Mm-hmm.
And then she still can be extremely cautious. I've had moms where they just sit there and they just watch me like they're on high alert when the babies are even 8 weeks old. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it really depends.
Yeah.
Well,
I've met the spectrum of mamas at this point.
Yeah.
So
I got Amari from Valerie, and she came with a no cat, no dog, absolutely not, she'll kill them rule. And she got here with 2 babies, and they were grown up, and she was like, I don't care. Yeah, she didn't care at all. She turned into the sweetest baby kitten, and she loved all the cats, and she loved all the dogs. And she told the puppy, like, hey, give me space, but she was fine. There was never an issue. And I'm like, Valerie's full of poop.
Oh, okay. She totally shredded my yoga pants.
Oh, no.
She ate me alive because I tried to give one baby medicine on the 5th
That's the
day.
huge difference, is that like she was a terror at your house, and here, once her babies were like grown up, she was like, I'm a cat. I'm a nice cat.
Well, not only were her babies grown up, but she no longer had a uterus or ovaries.
Mm-hmm.
Did you talk about like feral moms and like that situation, or no?
We totally can. That's why I was just like, I feel like moms and babies can be an entire Zoom on their own, but if you totally want to touch on it.
Just quickly, like, I mean, like, we do offer for moms, like feral moms and babies where you can't touch mom. I've had quite a few, and that's where the condos come into very well use. I did a video actually about it beginning a year ago, I guess, when I had a feral mom and babies. And moms can be scary when they're feral. Like, they can be very scary. Like, the mama I had was from Pinel. She came with, like, they were like a week or 2 old babies. They were able to somehow get her in the carrier with all of them. You know, we transported her here. I carefully, like, got her out and everything, but she hated inside. She hated me. She hated everything. She would try and attack me. But the condos, you can use a broom to help them, like, go up, and then you can, like, take care of everything down below, check on the babies. Honestly, for the first, like, 4 weeks, I didn't really mess with them. I fed her, gave her water, kept everything up high so the babies wouldn't be in it. And the litter box was down below, but it had high sides, so they couldn't get in it until they needed to. And then once they hit, like, weaning age, like, well, not weaning age, I guess it was, like, 6 weeks, then we PNR'd mom, and she went back. And then that was her life. And then the babies obviously learned, you know, that they were scared of humans from her, but that's when they're in that period where you can teach them, no, I'm good. You can trust me. And, you know, it's better it is not ideal to, you know, separate them younger, but for their behavior, it was beneficial. And it is easy, but it still has its, you know, you have to be cautious and just take her cues for sure when she's feral, but it is doable.
I love fostering feral moms with babies. Honestly, like, you do not, like, you don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
If you wake up late in the morning and you, like, forget, like, oh, I slept past my alarm and I need to go to work, like, okay, you don't have to go check on them. They're oh, you popped in and you go, okay, everybody's got food and water, okay, bye. Like, that's
literally
it. You don't have to, like, do anything.
And it's like clean the
Mom's
box like once a day. Yeah. So it was nice, but I mean, you have to be confident with the mom cats, and like, you know, if she, you know, tries to attack you, let her do her thing and check on her later or something. Because I mean, you don't want to stress her out more than she already is, but it's definitely a doable, easy thing, and the condos come in great like use for that.
Mm-hmm.
I had a
And
mom
covering the condos with the sheets are nice
Yeah.
because it gives them around them that sense that they only need to be on guard one direction, you know, like
feral cats benefit a lot from cover. It is essential to use cover when you are working with a cat that is not social.
My last feral,
Yep,
we had a box
covered
that had a hole out in it, and so mom would spend most of her time in the box when I was in the room. So she would hear me coming into the kitten room, she would go into her box, and then I would actually use a broom handle to turn the box to the side so that the hole would be up against the back of the kennel so she couldn't get out. And then she was locked. She was stuck. I did all my things. I took babies out. I cleaned. I swept. I sanitized. I changed litter box. And then when I was ready, I closed the door to the kennel and I took the broom and I opened I like returned the box back around, and then boom. Mama's
That's exactly how I would clean feral dens. Yeah. Feral kennels at Pack.
The feral dens.
Take their little feral dens and you just clean around them. Yeah.
Yep.
Or you just grab and scream. Yeah. That's my approach. Oh shit. I'm like falling backwards, peeing my pants.
Yeah. It can be like a much less stressful interaction for you and the cat if like the cat has somewhere where he thinks he's like a really sneaky ninja, like I've got eyes on you, but you don't got eyes on me. And you're like, yeah, okay, give me your litter box, dude. Yeah. It changes their attitude 100% when they think that they're invisible.
And I do want to kind of mention, like, since we are talking about moms and babies and feral moms, we try to avoid bringing babies unnecessarily into the world as much as possible. The more moms that we allow to deliver within the rescue, the least kitties that we can bring in off the street that have been abandoned or lost by their moms or abandoned by their owners or whatever. So if we take in a pregnant mom and she takes up an entire foster home waiting to give birth and then giving birth and then waiting to find her home, that's 3 months worth of fostering that she could have just gotten spayed and found her forever home, while this mom and babies that has already given birth is now sitting in the shelter, having already given birth, and now they're sitting in the shelter because we chose to let this other one give birth, if that makes sense. So that
other one was so damn cute.
No, I know.
Well, I would really like to.
We had the space at the time where like we weren't stressed for foster homes, and so like that's when it'll also be as well, like if the community is in a place where like we can allow them to give birth and she's really far along. I mean, like she was super far along.
We have an ultrasound.
If I could please speak on that, like regarding the feral mamas and the conditions that they're coming from.
The feral
moms, the last month
or they're pregnant.
Yeah, I'm absolutely 100% on board with that. No, my program, we spay until we don't care if the nipples are pinked up and she's producing milk. Those kittens should not be born because they are growing in basically petri dishes. These are cats that have no access to clean food or water. That means that they are constantly fielding bacterial and viral infections, constantly. Now we can go out there and we can vaccinate them and that protects them somewhat, but the majority of the cats in these streets are unneutered and unvaccinated and completely vulnerable to the diseases. And a lot of these diseases are able to cross the placental wall, which means that the babies suffer. The last litter that I tried to foster through PAC, and I'm gonna be completely honest, I wish that they had been spayed because they fell apart on day 3. They just spontaneously started developing lesions and they died, and I didn't understand. And really what it chalks up to is probably mom caught a bug while she was pregnant, and that was that. The genes were locked in place wrong from the start, and they're just born to suffer, and it's horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Now, Sunset there was at a pack foster home the whole time during her pregnancy. And then that foster didn't think that she could handle her giving birth at her home.
Yeah.
So she brought her back to Pack, and Pack was like, great, we got this kid, this cat that's going to give birth. And so I took her because she'd already been, you know, at in a home for quite like over a month getting nutrition. So I was like, and they actually were, she actually lost one of the 5 still.
Right.
From, you know,
exactly. They don't, they do not have a good outlook. They do not have a good prognosis. I think
especially at the end of
the point that I want to make, especially at the end of the year, is just, it's not good stock, and a lot of them are just going to be born to die, unfortunately, and regardless of our interventions. And a spay abort, it's hard to talk about, it's hard to think about, but it's a kindness, because that means that mama gets to get back to her life and gets to be somebody's baby. And that's, I think that's truly what's the most important.
Or even ferals, it means that they get to get out of your extremely stressful home and extremely stressful shelter, and they get to go back to the life that they are comfortable living, and they don't have to feed parasites anymore.
And they're not being prowled on by all the toms. Like when I'm out there in the fields, like it's so, I try not to anthropomorphize their plight, you know, as unfixed females in heat running in the streets, but it is downright scary to see how they are predated on by the toms. And it's not good or evil. It's not, you know, it's nothing in the realm of the way that we process feelings and our behavior, but it's rough. It's rough.
And obviously, obviously like as a SACR and as the rescue, we have it in our bylaws that this is something that we will do, but we also have it in our bylaws that if the foster home that takes this cat in and the cat is found to become pregnant and the foster home the cat is healthy and of an appropriate age to give birth, and the foster home is not comfortable with an abortion, then we will not force it upon the foster home, because we obviously respect your morals and beliefs, but we do encourage the spay abort as well. But that is obviously if the cat is young, not too young, but young enough where they're not old, like they're in the sweet spot and they're healthy. So we'll obviously always respect your boundaries, because that's important as well. So we'll move to teenagers.
Leo.
So I've got 3 different like kind of levels of teenagers. We've got our Kiara over here, the Tortie. She's on the left, and she's about she's what, 6 months now? 5 months?
I think so.
She's 5 months now.
5 months.
So this kitten, she does not look like she's 5 months in this picture. She was very malnourished as a kitten, not because of anything that we did wrong, but because of potentially some issues with her kidneys. We're trying to figure that out, but also just she was a poor doer as a kitten. And so she took a lot of work to get to where she is. So while she is very small, she has very upright, perky ears. She's got a full face. She has adult teeth coming in. So she's lost her molars and her premolars, like that stinky smell that they get on the back of the teeth, and they lose some teeth. That would be when the tooth fairy comes and they start to become teenagers. Then we've got Arlo here on the bottom in his avocado collar. And he's a really good example. I chose him because he's a good example of like the super awkward looking teenager where like they don't look like a cat, but they also don't look like a kitten anymore. So he was like, I think like 8-ish months around that photo, maybe 7-8 months.
No, he was like 6 or 7 months.
Yeah. So like 7-ish months. But he like was just like, he has like these monster paws, and then like this like face that like wants to be an adult face, but like is very clearly not an adult face. And he has some of his adult teeth at this point in time, but he doesn't have all of them. And so he does have like that stinky mouth, and is losing his teeth. But then you also get like Leo up here in the right side, where like Leo has all of his adult teeth, but they are fresh and shiny and brand new. So all of his baby teeth, or technically they're called deciduous teeth. So all of his deciduous teeth have fallen out, but I haven't seen him in person yet, but I'm assuming he's probably like 8, 9 months, maybe 10 months old. So he has no more baby teeth. They're all super shiny, brand new adult teeth. This age is, I think, the most important this is probably like one of the least like sought after fostering ages. A lot of people don't want to foster this age, because they are the wildest at this age. They tend to get into a lot of trouble. They climb curtains, they test boundaries, they scratch things they shouldn't. But like, this is like where really all that training really kind of goes in. And you really start to have to like remind them like, okay, we're not scratching here, we're scratching here. And like where they test the boundaries of like getting on the counters and stuff, and you start to have to remind them. And, you know, remember that as a foster, like you kind of need to be teaching your kittens the basic manners that you would expect, kind of like, remember that your home might have less boundaries than like the average person. So like, because we all like cats, like some of us might be okay with cats on our counters, but most people are not okay with cats on their counters. So like, let's not encourage our fosters to get up on our counters or like eat on the counter, or like eat from the dinner table, because that's a habit that you're going to start ingraining. And most people don't want that. And it's a hard habit to break. But like, this is the age where you're going to really get that in these teenagers. This is the age where it's also really hard to socialize at this age. You still can, but this is kind of where they're like starting to be set in their ways, and set in their personalities. But you can obviously still socialize them and make them friendly. They just takes a lot of work and takes a lot of like patience.
Mr. Friendly is purring, Melissa.
I see how calm he is.
He's purring, guys.
Good job, Mr. Friendly.
He's nervous.
He's nervous, but he's purring, and that's amazing because
he's comforting himself.
He's evil.
Like my voice.
Melissa's voice is lulling him to sleep.
Good. Good.
This is the age where all the stuff I told you about consistency as mushers, you think went out the window.
Yeah.
And you're like, what happened?
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with your kids. It's the things you taught them, and then all of a sudden they turn into teenagers, and you're like, who are these?
This is the same stage that Stormy at 2.5 is still at.
Who, Stormy?
A lot of our fosters don't.
Oh, see, Malibu is my perfect girl.
Oh, Stormy.
A lot of our fosters don't foster this age, but a lot of our fosters will get these text messages from our adopters saying, hey, I adopted from you, 3 months ago. So now this kitten is 6, 7 months old, right? And he is just acting out. He's running like crazy. He's got so much energy. He's starting to, have behaviors that he hasn't before. Yes, it's normal. We've got really great articles linked on our Facebook pages, and you can ask me or Alex. We'll link them to you if you can't find them. But basically, it's like living with a teenage cat articles, and they're super helpful. And they talk about living with a teenage cat because it's all about like patience, and it just takes time and effort. But also, like, this is one of the age groups that we need fosters for a lot, because these guys get passed up in the shelter because they're not nearly as cute and fuzzy and adorable as the tiny baby kittens. We are having a lot of luck with them getting adopted. It does take a little bit longer, like about a month or two. In some cases, it's been a lot shorter, but I don't want to like lie to you and say it's only going to take like 2 weeks. But
I've taken a lot of these, Melissa.
What?
I've had a lot of teenagers lately.
Yeah.
And they're not bad. They definitely do test you. They're the ones that like try to like eat pancakes off your table when you think you've like got your eyes on them, and all of a sudden they're like magically there. But anything, you just have to set those boundaries. Like I just kept a can of canned air, and every time it like launched for the table, I just kept canned air, and they like changed directions. And
as long as it's not in the ears or in the eyes.
No, I just do it in the air just to make the hissing noise. And that's enough to redirect. They're like, never mind, I lied. I'm not going to do that. But I don't feed in the kitchen. Like I always feed someplace completely separate from where human food is ever going to be, so that they don't associate their food with your food. And you just have to have boundaries with them and reinforce them, just like you do your teenagers. They may not listen the first 75 times, but eventually they'll get it.
Yeah. I like teenager cats, and honestly, I would probably foster more of them if my personal cats would tolerate them. But my personal cats would rather die than us have teenagers in the home. So we don't.
Yeah,
that's exactly why I met Pepsi.
Yeah, my personal cats are like all like super affectionate right now because Mushu is gone. And they think they're in some special heaven, except Jolly keeps looking for him and yowling. And I'm like, you told me to get rid of him because you hated him, and now you want him back. I'm like, too bad.
Melissa, do you see the chat?
No.
Like the Zoom chat. I didn't even know there's like
it didn't pop up.
Okay.
Oh,
there's things.
Oh, Pal, you can just interrupt. Pepsi was like 4 months when we took him in.
3 or 4 months. Yeah, because Victoria had him first, and he was like
now he's
like
a
3
year.
months. Yeah.
Yeah, and now he's a year. And he is he's crazy. You're gonna have to come over and just meet him because honestly, like you would freaking love him. He is great.
I got to see him again.
Who
Last
was
time I saw him, I
friendly?
think
because I think you met him when he was still
poopy.
sick.
Yes.
And like now that he's not sick, like he's crazy, but like in a fun way, but also in like a horrible way.
I met him when he was still just walking right out the front door.
Yeah, he still does that.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah. He actually got out to the parking lot a couple weeks ago and just dead ass just stood there, looked at me, looked at the parking lot, looked at me, looked at the parking lot. And I could see it click in his head. He was like, this is my moment. And I just, I football tackled him. I just like dove on top of him. Because I don't trust him.
You shouldn't. We shouldn't trust no cat.
No. Well, but a lot of cats, like I would trust. Like my personal cats, they would walk out on the back porch and walk right back in. I won't do it, but they would. They ain't going nowhere. They know where the food is. But Pepsi is like, I don't know. She feeds me prescription food. Maybe the next door neighbors would feed me something else. Maybe.
How much more exciting when my
love the loyalty.
If I got lost, like, no, Pepsi, come back.
No. And if he didn't have IBS, he could be a great like backpacking cat. But like if he goes in the car, he gets a flare up of IBS.
And you don't want to be in the car with that.
No. So it would be great though if he could be a backpacking cat because he has the personality of like a backpacking cat. And like one that like if you got him like a good harness, he would totally explore the wilderness with you and be like an Instagram cat. But like, no.
Just not meant to be.
Chris about one of those backpacks, bubble backpacks.
Oh, the domes. For the bird. Valerie has one too. They're super cute.
Adults and seniors are the absolute best.
Yeah,
Foster them always.
Adults and seniors are good. These guys are super easy to foster. You don't have to go to the vet as often. You don't have to give as many vaccines. You do foster them for a little bit longer, but they are simple and easy, and you do pretty much nothing except for just like chill. Like most of the time, you don't even have to worry about the way they're pooping because they're already pooping when they get to your house. Like, and they mostly eat fine. Like you give them food and they're good. Like And they mostly come from like really sad stories where like their owner died, or like there was like a really sad death in the family, or like something really traumatic happened, or like they were abandoned and we had to take them in. And so like you get to be like the next step in their beautiful story. And like all of these guys have like little sad stories that are on the, like Joey and Zeus and I can never remember her name, but Alex knows it. What?
Xena is her new name.
Xena's the floofy black one. And then Midnight, who just got adopted this weekend, who is Delena's foster. And I'm sure Delena can tell you, like, super chill.
I would love to take those, except Dusty's like, yeah, I tolerate this other crap you bring into the house. He's like, so I wish.
You do have to have pets that tolerate other cats, but like, if you do have the right environment, like if your cats will tolerate it, like Selena can tell you, like she had Midnight for almost over a year, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got him in December 2021. No, 2020. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he just got his blood pressure meds every day. So he was just like pretty easy.
Yeah. He was really chill. I loved him.
Yeah. He looked really happy with his mom. Has she sent you an update yet?
No, she hasn't, but I'm sure she's like busy trying to get him to be okay with her like 3 cats and a dog.
Yeah. The lady who originally wanted to adopt him but then couldn't because of her medical stuff, she emailed me and was like, why is he off of the website?
And why does she care? She like took in another foster.
Like,
a lady came in like 10 minutes after you left, Alina, because she wanted to adopt him and thought he would be there.
Where were you last year, lady?
Yeah, she was so sad. She goes, I wanted him. I saw him on the website and I've been waiting to come. And I was like, no, he literally just, it's been a year, lady. Like, I don't know.
It's been a whole year.
Yeah.
It's a video.
Because Cordy's next on the list, okay? We gotta adopt out all of these guys' cats. This poor guy passed away in December of 2020, and we have successfully adopted out all of his babies. Well, one of them went to go join him right after he passed away. It was really, really, really sick.
Were those the ones in like the outdoor cat house that he had built? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They were
living inside. Yeah.
They lived inside and outside in the greenhouse. But yeah, adult cats are like super easy to foster as long as your personal cats are cool with it. But like even if they aren't, so as long as your personal cats are cool with other adult cats being in the house. So like my cats are not okay with adult cats being in the house. My cat will stop being if there's other adult cats in the house. And we found that out the hard way. But like here you can see with the black cats in the middle photo, this is Anita Wright's house. And so this is a double synced bathroom. It's actually in the same apartment complex as mine. So it's a decent sized master bathroom. It's not huge or anything. It's got like kind of an L shape to it. But like enough room for like a litter box, food, water, and then like, you know, a climbing space up on top of the countertop. And that's where they lived for the first couple of weeks until they were able to integrate with her cats. But I think I chose this photo because it's a really great example that like you can foster adult cats even if you don't have a ton of space. Like it's better than them sitting in a shelter in a cage. So yeah. But that's our list of like types of kitties that you'll see being posted. We would love to have more fosters for adult cats. We, as a rescue, we obviously like started with a passion to help moms, babies, and kittens and like neonates, but obviously we're happy to help teenagers and adult cats. We get pleas all the time to take in adult cats and teenagers. So the more fosters that we can get for teenagers and adult cats, the better. So if you have friends or family that want to foster for adult cats or like seniors or something, you can send them to Amber. We'd be happy.
There is so much need, so much need.
Yeah, Melissa, you missed the chunk of kittens that need socializing.
I know, but that's like a whole nother Zoom itself.
I know.
Yeah, but we just gotta touch on it. Like we do take them. It's a whole thing. It's a process. But
this is what you do. This is Mr. Friendly.
So this age to this age, you can end up with kittens that are hissy spicy.
You just put medicine on their butt.
Also, to be fair, I made this PowerPoint while very sick. So
we all know you have a drinking problem and you're faking COVID.
I am.
That's okay. I told my kid, like my last kid had a drug problem, and I was like, and you're the reason why. I'm just functioning.
So this is the age that it's the hardest to socialize, but it's super important that you're keeping them in a smaller confined area. If you're giving them free roam to run around an entire room or an entire house, you will not be as successful.
I learned that the hard way, guys. Listen to Melissa.
Yep. Two things. I am aware currently right now of someone in the community who is a TNR trapper that is trying to work with kittens and is doing her best, but she could use guidance, like what you just said. Like sent me a video of like one kitten pancaked in a corner of like a big empty room, and I was like, no, what are you doing? I
mean, even the kitten lady has videos on like how to socialize. Yeah. Like it's just a simple like YouTube search and like asking around of like how to socialize. Like
the pop-up tents that are like, the little round ones and zip at the top, those are fantastic to start them off, because
so I have two more things to add.
You just do kisses.
I just found a baby like pack and play in our donation like
I have
thing,
one,
and I took it aside and I said it's for us and I would like to donate to someone who would like to use it. And I can keep an eye out for items like that will facilitate fostering for your volunteers. That was one thing that I wanted to mention. And then another thing I wanted to say was just that like a really, really big thank you for people who are willing to foster the adults, because you really are the difference between them and just ending up in the street homeless. And one of the hardest parts of like what I've been doing with the TNR is encountering abandoned cats that are like, you trap them and you load them up in the van, and typically it's silent, and when they're along for a ride they're crying, and they're just crying the whole time. They're heartbroken.
And for people who don't know, truly feral cats that have no human interaction don't meow.
No.
So a meow is a reflection of the human voice. They're speaking to you. They're just mimicking you, because cats are mean. They're mocking you by meowing.
And if you foster
or being cute, they're being super cute by meowing at you. But feral cats don't meow.
And I'm currently working a site where there was a couple that passed away from COVID complications. They believed that their cats were taken care of. They set aside money. They had funds that they left to their next of kin. And the next of kin put the cats in the street and is coming by just whenever she feels like it to dump food for the cats. I have like no way to contact her, no way to stop her from like dumping like uncontrolled amounts of food. So I haven't been able to catch the cats in her area. So just, you guys prevent so much heartache, not just for that cat, but like it's exponential, the good that you do by allowing a kitty to come into your home when he has nowhere else to go, whether they're little babies or they're big, because the street is brutal. It's so awful.
Yeah. And if you foster, I have Harvey here, who was a spicy kitty, and now he's not so spicy. He just doesn't like me to touch him very much.
Yeah. And like they're not always going to be super snuggly, and like you've seen Amber, if Amber's popped up on your screen at all this whole time, like you can see her, like she's just burritoed him and like is just touching him gently and like not like overly focusing on him. She's just barely focusing on him. She's just kind of like, it's almost like she's twirling her hair, but like she's touching the kitten. It's kind of like a subconscious socializing, and that's kind of what it should be. You can turn, I just talked to to Katie about it, but you can turn a hoodie around backwards and have the hood in the front and stick the kitten in there and just
That's way too close to your face.
Oh, that's great. And it's great for guinea pigs too. I used to do that.
You can just like have the kitten there, and that helps with socializing. When they're bigger, like the one that you have, Amber, obviously that doesn't work, but because you've got a bigger cat. But like, if you don't have these kittens in a confined space, they will not turn.
Yeah.
Like, sure, there are some that will, but like it is much more difficult, and like 90% of the time they are not going to turn if you don't spend time with them in a confined space.
I found with my Texas litter with my mama and the babies, they had ringworms, so I didn't want to put them in the kitten room. So I kept them in the living room in a tiered cage with the Tespo around it so nobody would get to the bottom of it. And I think that because they were in there with ringworm for so long, almost 2 months, they were in with all of our voices, the dogs making noise, the television. They got so used to it. So once they were clear and I opened up that cage, even the mama cat was comfortable laying on the couch with the noise, whereas I couldn't touch her when I first got her. For the first month, she would go and hide inside the litter box, behind the litter box, when I was putting the food on the upper part of the cage. And she was really terrified, but she got so used to voices and just everyday life that I've always put them in the kitten room. And I don't think I should do, I mean, she was comfortable enough to have her babies. They were 4 weeks old when I got them. And she really didn't hiss at the dogs. So I didn't need to separate her. But I felt that did her better than putting her in a cage in the back room, just because it's too quiet and she wouldn't have had any kind of interaction all day long and all night long, you know?
Yeah. Kathy and David just picked up a condo from me to put their little saucy nuggets, they call it, because they're not quite spicy. They're just a little saucy. And they call it their saucy nuggets. They're putting them in a condo, and they're going to put them in their living room. Because they don't have a super active house, because remember, they just have Rocky, their cat, and and they're pretty quiet people. But it's still going to be more beneficial for the cats to like see them cooking dinner or watching TV. And conversations, rather than having them in a room where they do have all the spaces blocked off. So these cats can't like hide, but it's also a much larger space where they can't grab the kittens easily. And while you don't want to like hone and like be a monster and grab them, like they couldn't like gently go up and like scoop a kitten to snuggle it and like force snuggle because they're running around a room.
Right. So Melissa, when we had Bruce and Dory and Nemo, we kind of did it in a tiered way. So we started with the kennel in the kitchen where they were in the middle of all the daily life interaction, you could see out the window. And then as they got more comfortable and handleable, I mean, Nemo just was like, love me, he didn't care. But we moved him to our bathroom where they had more contained space. And everybody went in there at different times and would sit on the floor and read books or watch Netflix or whatever, and just take treats and just let them interact with us. And then as I worked them up to being able to return, like I'd shake the container of Frisky treats. And when they would return for Frisky treats, then I would give them more space, and we just kept working their spaces out. But as they had to always be willing to come back, so I trained them to come back to the shaking so that I could contain them back to the bathroom, and then I could do what I needed to do with them. But
I think that's important, that trust.
Yeah, they had to trust us enough to come back before they could. I told them they can't free range until they're friendly.
Yeah.
And Bruce is now sleeping with his human like on the couch and stuff.
Yeah.
And he was a hand destroyer.
It just takes patience. Yeah, Bruce messed some people.
Bruce was the day he got adopted, it took us 20 minutes to get our hands on him. I ended up having to like use the shaky treat trick and open the kitchen window because he raced over there to get in the kitchen window to see what was going on. And then I was able to catch him.
Yeah.
Because he knew something was up and he didn't like whatever it is we were thinking up.
Yeah. So the next slide that I have, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to mention the pack and play I have one of those. So just letting, people know who, are interested in those. Those are great for like, either if you have the newborns or if you have the mushers, because you can keep them contained. It's big enough to put like a litter box in there, a small one, because they're learning.
Jumping ahead.
And then just go to like and why I still had it, like from my babies that are adults. Like, I don't know why I still have it, but it works.
You're jumping ahead.
No, but it went from California to Arizona. Why it didn't get tossed anyway? But you can just go to like the thrift store and get a crib sheet or a fitted crib sheet. They fit right perfectly over the pack and play, so you can keep them covered on the top, and that's what we do. And however, it doesn't last very long because when they start to figure out to climb, they will eventually but you have a few weeks of that. Those are great for containment. Just an FYI, the old school pack and place.
We've got that on our list too, but
shut up, Erica.
Everything what she said.
Well, listen, I
know. I'm trouble. I already know it.
Pictures to go with what you said.
Huh?
I had pictures to go with what you said.
Oh, okay. See, I'm a pioneer. I didn't even know. Look at this. See?
I had pictures to go with everything that you just said.
You should have muted her.
I know. Marla wishes there was a mute option for me. I do. But there's
also Amber over there trimming cat nails with scissors.
Dude, he's not feral anymore. He was feral this morning.
I didn't know you could cut their nails with scissors.
No, you can't. You're not supposed to.
Okay, so I shouldn't do what she's doing right now.
What's wrong with it? They're scissors.
There's so much room for error.
Yeah, that's way too risky.
I'll accidentally neuter him. Like, oh no, he doesn't have balls anymore.
You could just cut the quick though.
I'm literally just cutting the very tip because I know if I actually try to cut him, he's gonna freak out. But I'm just touching him. I'm just touching him and making clicky noises.
It's fine. We just learned what not to do when trimming nails. But
now I'm gonna trim his eyebrows because you guys are being buttheads. Oh no, what will happen? Oh, he's ear tipped. He's feral now. Screw you, pal.
Places to write down if you wanted to. I'll just leave this up for a minute if you wanted to write this down or screenshot it or whatever, just for help. These are great places to grab information other than myself and the coordinators. You guys know, if you haven't explored the Facebook group, if you're new, please do. The albums, files, everything. You guys also all have access to upload to the files. So if you come up with a creative Excel spreadsheet or a Word doc or something that you enjoy that helped you track weights or helped you in some way, feel free to share it. We love those things. It's great. But these 3 websites are great for information. So if you want to learn more about an ailment or learn more just in general, these are the websites that I would go to. The first 2 are the first 2 I would probably go to. Kitten Lady does have a lot of great stuff just for kitten fostering. She's got lots of great videos, but remember that she has a lot of money behind her videos. And so you do need to take in mind with that there's a lot of money with those videos. And so you may not be able to afford, or we might not be able to afford all of the things that she puts into those videos. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're being hard on yourself for not having a glamorous kitten setup. But Veterinary Partner and VCAhospitals.com, they both have great Veterinary Partner. You can basically Google any disease or issue in that website. So you can type in Giardia and it'll give you an entire article that's meant for clients. So this website is meant for vet techs and veterinarians to be able to go to, and we can print articles for clients to give them on whatever issue their pet is being treated with. So fleas, ticks, Giardia, coccidia, whatever, if I'm talking to you about that, or you hear it in passing or something and you want to learn more about it, rather than going to Google, that is a great place because it's written the articles are written by veterinarians, and so you know that the information that you're reading is correct. And they've got things on pretty much every species you can think of that you would find like in a veterinary hospital. Not like zoos, but veterinary hospitals, even like exotic hospitals.
Another option, Melissa, is just texting any of us at all hours of the night and asking us stupid questions.
Yeah.
If you text me at 5 a.m. and ask me like, why won't my cat eat this food? I'm gonna like murder you, throttle you. Like,
unless the cat has actually not been eating, and then please, yes, text.
Yeah, there's groups there's so many answers in the group. Like some people just don't have the ability. I'm like, just Google it. Just Google it. If I send you a let me Google that for you link, I don't like you. So
Amber's bitter.
There's one person who literally called me at 7 a.m. and was like, my dog ate the cat litter. What should I do? And I was like, I am Southern Arizona Cat Rescue.
I would like to be clear that this person is no longer with us, so she's not talking shit about somebody who is with us.
Well, Alex is a little they're gone, but yeah, it's just like, please don't.
VCA Hospitals has more links that are less about like ailments and more about like care. So they're more like, you can look up like whelping and queening, and they've got great articles about whelping and queening and like the whole process. They've got great articles about like post-op neuter and spay. They've got great articles about bringing your new cat or kitten home. Just great little articles about that. That's also a website that's designed like for technicians and for doctors to be able to print articles and hand them to their clients at veterinary visits. So utilize those websites because they're literally built for what you want them for. And then the Kitten Ladies videos are great. So the next things I wanted to talk about was I didn't take the animations off, my bad. So I wanted to talk about like the different setups that you can use in your home and like the pros and cons of those setups. And so this is kind of like, feel free to like jump in as you want. I am going to pull
jump
off
into the bathtub.
Huh?
Jump into the bathtub?
Yes. Kittens that cannot walk, or like kittens that cannot jump fit in the bathtub very easily, and they can't jump out of the bathtub. It's beautiful. So I'm going to stop sharing for a second, and Abby is going to show the setup that she has in her bathroom, because it's a fairly small bathroom, but it's not like super teeny tiny. It's her only bathroom in her home, but she's got Keaton and Chappie set up in there. And so yeah, Abby, if you want to show what you've got going on in your bathroom.
I can't promise that they haven't messed it up.
No, that's why it's supposed to be real.
Yeah. Can she share her screen?
Can you see mine?
No, you're just part of the group, but can you like share your screen?
Well, it's
very tiny.
So you have to set your view to speaker in the top right corner.
Or just pin my video.
Mm-hmm. You can either click on Abby's video on the little 3 dots and click pin. Oh, here, wait. I'll spotlight it for everybody. There we go.
There you go. Okay. So, yeah, this is my only bathroom. And Kiki and Chappie have, hey, wake up. Say hi.
It's like, I'm dead.
Kiki and Chappie have ringworm. So I took my shower curtain off. I'm just using the liner so that I don't have to worry about washing the shower curtain. And then I hang my towel way up here, and that's the only space for me. And they're also toilet paper messers. So I reach from the toilet over here and get that.
Did you demonstrate that for us? Can you show us, how you poop?
Reach.
I use Tesco panels around the litter box because the walls are hard to scrub. So I just use the Tesco panels. And then they have their toys and their bed. And all their meds and food are in here too because I don't want to share meds and food with other kitties out in there, because then I can just keep them in here.
But like really great example is, you know, if you don't have a ton of space, this is a great example of like how you can utilize just a bathroom. And if they were tiny, you could literally just put them in the bathtub because they can't jump out, and you put, but obviously you have to have like more than one bathroom if you do that.
Yeah. Or you can like.
No, that's not necessarily true. When I use my shower stall for the kitties, I do take their bedding and their litter box out and put it on the floor in the bathroom. Yeah. And then I use, you know, so I do share the space with them.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
Kim's cats are traumatized.
I'm lazy.
We don't have a tub, so we have to utilize the shower stalls, and we have to share.
Amber, this is being recorded.
And anytime I go to the bathroom, they're on my lap, which is hilarious.
Yeah, they do. They love to help.
They're very snuggly.
Yeah.
So we've used my daughter's bathtub for kittens that can't escape. We'll put them in the tub and then just have her use our shower on the in-between.
So the next one, the next one is bedroom. I pulled this old photo from my old Instagram. Can you guys all see it? Did it share?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is from my old Instagram. This was my old apartment, same building, different apartment. But this was kind of how I had it set up before, when I used to foster like way too many at once. And it kind of shows like how you can have like a bedroom set up, and then I'll walk the laptop in to show you how I have it set up now. But you can see like, so I have my condo or my rat cage, and I don't have the bottom being used because I don't want to share germs between the kittens that are on the floor and the kittens that are in the rat cage. So the kitten in the rat cage only has the top view. That was Littlefoot. She's so little and tiny. And then that is a doghouse. And if you are thinking about investing in that $80 doghouse from Amazon, don't, because it's impossible to get poop off of. And you can't disinfect it. So
Cubby used to love that.
They loved it. They absolutely did. But unless you're going to seal it before you start using it, don't buy it. But if you're going to seal it, absolutely. I just didn't seal it. I left it like as raw wood, and that was a bad idea. So I wish that I had not left it as raw wood, because it would probably still be here. But let me stop sharing and pin myself. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys, a lot of you guys have seen my kitten room, but I'll show you now. So this is my kitten room. So when you walk in, I just have a litter box. This is where I have like 2 teenage cats. So I've got my litter box. I use a piece of plexiglass. I got it from Home Depot for pretty cheap. Behind the litter box too, so I don't have to scrape poop off the wall. I plan on refinishing this dresser, so right now it's just being used in here because it can get messy, but it is storage for like all the rescue supplies. I have my mirror, my wall up, a bunch of kitties that I fostered, and I need to add more, but I've got it pretty simple because I've learned that Pepsi is very messy, and he likes to like dig and bury things. So if I add too much to the floor, he buries it in his water dish. So we have a heating pad because Chaplin likes his heating pad every night. So we have it set up over here. We have a dog bed that is like a raised dog bed with the heating pad on it. And then we've got this like little post over here, which is like a kitty casa thing. And then their food and water dishes, and another kitty casa, which is here. and just some toys, like just utilizing the room. And then I also have my whiteboard, which isn't necessarily, it's not necessary for obviously all of you guys, but if you're gonna foster a lot of cats, it's good to have a whiteboard so that you can keep track of them. You can write weights down. You can write like, you know, Trumpy's weights. And then right now he's on metronidazole. I've got his dose and when he started, and then the day that he's stopping. And then these are all of the medical cases within SACR currently. So welcome to my life. And the blue is like the follow-up on all of them. So that's
Hey, is Stephanie's cat the eye thing on that? What do I need to give her?
What?
Stephanie needs eye stuff. Is that written down?
Oh, no, it's not. She just needs eye droppies, whatever eye drops you have.
Okay.
But yeah, so that is, that's my room. And then I know that Abby has some Tespo panels set up, but I'll show you, I've got some pictures of some other ones here. I'll show you guys real quick. So we've got some pictures set up of like some Tespos, and kind of like you can buy these on Amazon. They are, you can buy these on Amazon. Oops. They are plastic panels that you can like basically configure to like any shape. They come in a bunch of different sizes. They are great, but there's an age limit. Basically, once they can jump, so like 5.5 weeks, you're really kind of pushing the boundaries. Like 6 weeks, they're really like grabbing at the edge. And if you go over 6 weeks, maybe 6.5 weeks, you're gonna end up with damaged panels. But you can also utilize them for things like you saw, like Abby utilized them for, like, which is making sure that her wall stays nice.
I have wonderful examples of what not to do if you would like to see.
What do you mean?
Oh, Amari's babies bent all of them.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
yeah.
So Valerie put them in too old and they bent them all.
I have taller ones, and I learned that if you don't put anything that they can use to climb and jump, because I had them where they could climb up and jump out, they do pretty well. And I think I had Kim's babies in there. I think they were there till they were about 8 weeks, but they didn't mess up my panels.
It depends. Like mine were using the edge of that litter box to like stand on, and even the bed to get just a few more inches, and then they would leap. And my youngest litter, they were like real climbers and jumpers, whereas I've had some that have stayed forever in them, you know. But so you can't trust that those are going to work until they're ready to be adopted, you know.
Yeah, right. So they
really
started
great
Supermaning from my washing machine as far as their little bodies could fly.
Yeah,
it was terrible.
The Tespo panels do stack on top of each other. So I have seen people on like Instagram and TikTok double stack these to make like a big wall. And then you can zip tie them to make a hinge.
And duct tape and cat spray.
Yep. So you can configure it to basically make like a little room.
You can even the configuration that Abby has, you can also put them across in that direction. You can, some of the setup, you can put them as a top. So it just depends on how narrow you make it, you know.
So I'll let Abby show, I'll pin her spotlight for everybody. So yeah, so that's Abby set this up so we could show on video another configuration that she's done before. And keep in mind, Abby has like essentially like a studio, or like a 1-bedroom.
This is for like under 4 weeks because they're sideways, but then once they got to like 4 to 6 weeks, I would put them taller. And because they're next to the bed, they can easily jump up on that when they are 5 weeks old. But I make one little corner. I try to make it a whole like studio apartment for them. Their bathroom's over here. their food's in the middle, and then they have a corner for playing and a corner for sleeping.
Yeah. And if you do like invest in Tespos, I personally have never bought the actual branded name Tespos.
No.
I just Google like clear pet panel, and like you can just go through Amazon and like find like the best deal and like the size that you want. Like just like look at the, you know, the
Sometimes
measurements.
you find them under guinea pig, like they'll say like guinea pig enclosure.
Yeah, they're mostly the stuff for guinea pig enclosures. Yeah.
They're also a good idea if you have an empty closet, like that's perfect size kind of space. You can put them like up across that too, and have that they're in that like little area too. That's another idea.
Yeah. And Pinterest, if you Pinterest like Tespo panels on Pinterest, they will show you a million configurations. You just have to Tespo Kitten on Pinterest, and there's a million different configurations and ideas on how to set them up to be like really cute and like really nice for your kittens, to like avoid your kittens like putting too much litter in their food, and like keeping it in a small space, but also like making sure that it's still like usable for them.
It works good for holding, if you have mom and kittens, it works good for having the kittens, but mom can get in and out too.
Yes, that as well.
Yeah, just be careful, like Simon loves to go in there and hang out. So
yes, or eat the food.
Yeah,
Jackson. That's why he's 20 pounds.
Yeah. So be careful, because yeah, you'll have cats that go in there and eat the food that shouldn't. So the next one that we have, I've just got a bunch of pictures of, let me screen share again. So this is like condo dog crates, rat ferret cage. Like these are, I don't have a dog crate, but you guys know what dog crates look like. We've got a million of them. You can see them in the background of Amber's video and she pops up. But these rat and ferret cages, those are the thicker ones that are in the middle and on the left-hand side. They are more expensive, but they are, and typically you end up buying those yourself, and like those are, because they're really hard to like move. So like those ones, because we don't get them donated very often, and they're pretty expensive, so we don't purchase them. But like I purchased my own rat cage from Facebook Marketplace for like $80, and I've had it for like 5 years now.
It's in my carport right now.
It is in your carport.
It's coming home.
I used a dog crate. I have a big dog crate, and I bought one of those little doll beds from IKEA.
Yes.
So I do that so they can get up off, but I painted it so that I can, because it was raw wood. So I painted it and sealed it so that I can sanitize it.
Yeah.
But I set up that, and then I just ordered some bowls on Amazon that actually attach to the side of the cage to see if we can mitigate them dumping like litter and stuff in their food and water all the time. So we're going to try some different setups. And we bought one of the cages, I think Mia posted.
That's the middle one. That was $71 clearance.
Yeah, I picked one up at the Oro Valley one too, and have that because I like that it's on wheels and that it's higher because it'll be easier to like maneuver in my kitchen. But I also have one like the one on the right-hand side that I got off the Facebook Marketplace for $40.
Yeah.
I currently have a baby pack and play with a top cover set aside for the rescue and a pretty sizable dog crate. Like as these things come in, I'm going to be like squirreling them away because you guys have been a big help to the TNR program, like taking in kittens for us. And we want to be able to like facilitate that in our own way too.
That's great.
So yeah, I'm keeping an eye out for things like this. Yeah. I still need to figure out how to, how do you say, like put together the pack and play. I think somebody will know how.
They're super easy.
Yeah.
You like just pop it and push it.
Mine had poles.
Yeah, I keep trying to put it together by sections. I like make one side tough and then the other three collapse. I'm just like,
you have to push the bottom down.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So normally the ones now you have to keep the middle popped up. You lock the four sides in and then push the bottom down. It'll finish locking everything in place.
I'm fairly sure that this one's not broken and we'll be able to get it over to you guys. So yeah.
Yeah. feel free to post them in the group, and then people can just meet up with you to grab them. That is awesome.
Will do.
Like these types are great. The condos, like the one on the right hand side, we buy a lot of them. We're gonna all meet soon, and we'll talk about retiring some of our old ones or buying like replacement pieces. But I think there are some that need to be retired, that we've had for a couple years that have just been used and abused, or at least need a lot of replacement bits for them. But like you can put hammocks in those. They're really great for like pretty much all ages, because like with all three of these different types and with dog crates, right? So like if you remove the shelving and like the climbable aspect of it, you can put the bottle, like the Mush Babies in them. You can put the tiny things in them. And then once they start getting older and they start like being like 4 weeks old, you can add like a shelf. And then once they're like 6 weeks old, add like 2 shelves. And then they basically just grow into the cage. And so it's like, you know, a 3x5 spot in your apartment, and it allows you to foster.
And sometimes you find a 2-week-old that has little nails that climbs up those wire ones, and they're like hanging, and you're like, oh my God, how did they get up there? Those are my little incubator ones. When they go into the cage, they frighten me.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Melissa, did that lady not ever get back to you with the donations?
No, but I think she's probably having a hard time with it.
Okay.
She's lost 4 cats in 7 months.
Oh.
They were all like 16 and 17. So like it's just the sadness of like adopting all your cats at once.
Yeah.
And then when they all became seniors, like, you know, you're going to lose them all within a short period of time.
Yeah. Yeah. She probably wants to give it, but then the emotional attachment right now.
Yeah. I forgot to mention what Joy was saying, those kennel bowls. We probably need to buy more of those kennel bowls, or at least I know we had a bunch of them. I know Courtney still has a bunch we need to get.
We have a lot at adoptions. I moved them yesterday. And I'm not sure they all get utilized. I mean, they never get, we could easily put a stack of the plastic bowls instead to be giving them water, and those could be, because we don't attach them. It's not worth to attach them to the cage for a couple hours.
Well, we attached them one time when I was there with my horde, and they literally like dumped the bowls, like they like hang in the bowls and flip them over and dump them all over their bed.
So like there's a different brand that I prefer to put like for like long-term use. There's a brand, I want to say they're I'm gonna look it up really quick. Because like if you're gonna invest in kennel bowls, these are the ones that you should. Midwest Homes is the brand. Midwest Homes is the brand, and they're called Snappy Fit. They come in a bunch of different size, like 10 ounce, 20, 1 quart, 2 quarts. They are firm. Like your kitten can sit in that bowl and it's not going anywhere.
The problem is refilling them and cleaning them to get them out. Like when the water is gross, because they make their water gross no matter what.
Take a towel.
Yeah.
Soak it out.
Yeah.
And then unsnap it is what I do. But it's way better than like them taking the water bowl and like spilling it everywhere.
So Melissa, the ones I found on Amazon, actually it was the part hooked to it, and the bowls could be lifted out. Like the metal bowls were a separate thing.
So those are like the kind that they use for like birds. Those bowls are great, but the problem is the kittens go underneath them, then they stand up and they knock the bowls right out. And then you have food everywhere or water everywhere because they just pop them out.
Hellions.
They're devils.
I've just learned the hard way because I purchased those and then was like, oh, yay, love that for me. Waste of $20, thank you. So the Midwest Homes, like they're meant for dogs. And they are hard to detach, but once you get them in there, an adult cat can stand on them. because they're meant for like a Rottweiler can like pull on it and isn't supposed to be able to pull it out, which technically I think a Rottweiler probably could, because a Rottweiler could rip its arm off, your arm off if they wanted to. But that's what they advertise, is that like big dogs can't even pull these bowls off, and like big cats can't. So that's all I need. I just need that to be true. So that's all we're doing. But I like the Midwest Homes one, and we'll probably order some more. We need to refresh our supplies. So I don't know. We have to go over budgets and costs and stuff. But if you're going to buy your own stuff, I would buy things that are going to last a long time. And those Midwest bowls we've had like probably 15 of them floating around the rescue since we started, and they're all still like brand new condition. As long as you're running them through the dishwasher and taking care of them, they stay in great condition. Alex said that she had playpens, but I wanted to show, I know Erica kind of already touched base on all the things, but I wanted to show what happens when you put a cat in a playpen that is too big for the playpen. It pulls it down. So there's an age limit. It's great for the tiny babies. Not great for like the ones that like jump. So don't put the babies that jump in it.
Not just jumping, but one of mine actually, like, I don't know, she kept clawing at the door because she wanted out so bad, and it like pumpkin spice ended up like making a big hole.
Yes.
Yeah. So just, they're not good for older babies.
Yeah. I don't even think we need to show your setup, but Erica pretty much touched on
I literally have everything you're talking about set up. I literally have everything set up.
I use the playpens for older ones. If I have the females that just got spayed and I have a mix of males and females, I'll sometimes use it for a couple of days to isolate the females.
Yeah.
Just so that they have a couple days to heal before their brothers go all rowdy on them again.
I think that's yeah.
But that's typically what I use mine for, is the isolation of the girls.
I think that's a good idea as well. Alex, did you want to show yours?
I mean, I can. I literally have like everything, all examples.
Yeah, why don't you yeah, because I've got Valerie's stuff. So let's show your stuff, and then we'll talk about the other random items that you can keep kittens in, and then we can move on to like the last topic.
Okay. Well, downstairs I have a kitten that Kiara that I've had to have like separate. And so she took over my little bathroom, and like I haven't cleaned, but Melissa said to let you know like how my day-to-day life is with these children. So like she makes a litter mess like all the time. So I just like leave it, but I of course clean her box, and like I should have put test clothes. I just totally forgot that was even an option. But obviously my walls, obviously like it takes the paint off. It's super annoying, but whatever. But she makes a mess. I literally fix this every time I'm in here, and she literally just has drug it where she wants it, and this is how she lives. And she has access to here, but this is a rug, and we just leave it close for her. And she gets socialization time, but like to run around my house. But this is where she lives mostly because I don't trust my dogs basically. And then upstairs is where, like when I used to foster a ton, I had like little cages I would keep downstairs with me to like bottle feed and whatever, the incubator at one point. But I've literally had kittens all over my house. Like in here, this is where I keep kittens, in this guest bathroom a lot, and this is where I do my ringworm baths. Just their own space. I had kennels just living over here in this space. My main kitten room is in here. It's a mess right now because I haven't cleaned, but Bisc has ringworm, so he has to stay in here still. This is my big dog kennel. I always try and give him levels, like the hammocks, the boxes, just different things in there, like this cat trees, or this is going to go in there for him, just different things to keep it fun while he's confined. Last night I had an overnight guest, so like normally I'm yes, the one Amber brought. So like I have this playpen and it's like good size, but the problem is like right here it somehow broke and it will not stay together. And I think I bleach them. I fold them and like bleach them in my tub, and the bleach I think is too harsh on them. And so it like broke the zipper. So I wouldn't keep one in here that could jump or anything because I don't trust this. But he was good. He stayed in here. These litter boxes are great to just throw away. You know, that was just his setup for the night. And then this was what my ringworm kitten was in. I have to decontaminate, so that's why everything's just kind of a mess. But this had a kitten, you know, until he was like 6 months old. It is, you know, tiny, but he can go up and down. And, you know, he was in there for his time and he enjoyed it. You know, I gave him all these different toy options and litter box down there, food up there, and he was fine. This is one of the condos. I only have one shelf, so I just, you know, gave him this hammock. If he goes up, this is my new shy baby. I don't know if he'll go up or not. That's why I moved all his stuff, but he already made a mess.
That's the Midwest bowl.
Yeah, so like they are kind of hard to like get out, especially with the water, but I usually just, if it spills, I just like mop it up with a rag. But yeah, so this one, I don't love this one because it's broken. I had to like zip tie it a lot, so it'll probably go to heaven soon, but it is convenient to use like for short term, because I don't plan to keep him in here a long time. It was just temporary for now, especially because he's very scared, and so I just wanted him to have like a smaller setup for now while I work with him a bit more. Yes, Bisque, I hear you. And like all my supplies live in here. I have a whiteboard to put up. It just doesn't get put up. Laundry. This is ringworm laundry.
Like, my house, Amber's house, Alex.
All my supplies live here.
And Kim's house. So like your coordinator's houses, like we have a lot of backup supplies. Yes. So like when we show you guys our rooms, there's a lot of shit because we have a lot of shit because we have to keep it so that we can give it to you guys.
Well, all these Tespos I bought, and then like I use them, but like my babies get too big now, so like they haven't been as good to me as I thought they would. Like all my other supplies lives in here, medical stuff, like it's all just everywhere at the moment. And then this is the room. I say I'm never going to use it for fosters, but I always end up moving them in here when they're like in teenager phase, because they just have more space. I had to tip the catcher over because the girls got spayed and they were very swollen. So they still had access to scratch, but it just was on its side. And then they just get, you know, free range of this room. I'll come hang out with them on the bed. But my dogs, I just don't trust my one dog. So I keep them in like a room or confined longer than other people do. Because I just don't want my dog to hurt them because he thinks they're, I don't know, going to steal his toys and food. But this is like normally where they end up when they're teenagers. And then I'll give them supervised timeout, but that's pretty much.
I like how Tilly's helping you.
It's pretty much the message. She won't leave me alone.
Says I help mom. But I help mom with the tour.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I had two, when I first started fostering, I had 10 ringworm kittens. I had 2 of these kennels and then like another one on top, all the same size. And the babies got to be like 6 months old or older, and like I just, you know, giving them options to go up in here makes me feel like I don't need one of these, for example, because I do think they get good space in here. Ideally I want this room to be more open like Melissa's, but I play Xbox in here, so I have cords everywhere and they chew all my cords. Like they've ruined a bunch of cords already, so that's what I'm gonna use my Tespo for, and like set it up along my rug and then let them run around is the goal. But yeah, this is why I take so many. Like I've had 20 at a time and people are like, how? But this is how, because I use all the time. And then I just move them to the room when they're done. I know, Bisque. I know. But yeah, that's all I got.
Thanks. I forgot that you had like the whole room that you were gonna show because I got distracted.
Oh, like the guest room?
No, like that you had like every single option of setup.
I know. I
know. I forgot that you had every option of setup.
Yeah, I mean, and like that's how I keep them. Like he has ringworm, but I mean, I just putting the it's not bad. So I just put the sheet up to, you know, just make sure nothing flew over to the new kitten that Miriam took, just so, you know, germs. But when I had Khaleesi though, and I guess I didn't realize it was so airborne as it was, and literally like all of my whole room got it. So that was not fun. So that's why quarantine and keeping them separate is really important.
Valerie, do you want to show your things next on there? Do you want to show your odd thing in person, or do you want me to show the pictures?
She's muted.
I know. You got to unmute. I'm assuming she's going to show it in person.
Yeah. What? Stay outside, everybody.
So the next kind of setup is like weird setups that you're not going to see very often. And they're kind of like specific to each person or like specific to each case. But like things that you can like make yourself or things that you can like do for odd situations. So this is something that Valerie did.
Backpack.
Well, this is something that Valerie and her husband made together.
This is it's just a wooden box. My husband is not a carpenter. He is a car guy. I'm surprised it doesn't have an engine. But all this is carpeted just because they can climb on it. It has levels so they can hide. Each one is sturdy enough that my husband can stand on it, and he's large. But I bought this little cat tower just so they can get up, because when they're obviously smaller, they're not the best of jumpers. I still have to clean it out from Amari's lovely little babies. But it goes all the way on the back. It did have 2 doors. It had a door here, and then it has this door right here. My husband got mad at the other door. That's why it's not there. So this is the 3rd level. Now, because I had it set for my lovely extra large kitty cat, we made a top here. It's just a secret, and it opens. Now, it's just strange, but they are allowed to climb up, out, in, around, like Amari's lovely babies, all down the side. So, but it was just something that we made because I had planned on fostering a lot of babies, and it obviously fits a lot of cats. It also gives pretty decent hiding space, lots of levels, and, you know, it kind of like a secret box, and it fit just exactly in this little secret space I have in my laundry room. Obviously, it looks really large. I promise you, it can also fit 2 small children. But this is my box.
Thank you for showing.
Of course.
I like it because like then you guys didn't lose a bathroom. You didn't really lose anything about your house.
No, and this laundry room is where I had them. This space right here, you can see I have now used it for laundry. But this wall here is deep. It's very deep. My whole arm fits across of it. And it just fit in this whole corner, and I did not lose any space in my laundry room.
Yeah.
It was really nice.
And then you weren't losing a bathroom or anything because you've got kids. It's like hard to like lose a whole bathroom to kittens or like lose a bedroom to kittens. So it's nice that it kind of took away that thing.
Right. I tried with the babies. I have the Tespo actually right now because obviously I made a dumb choice and bought a puppy. There's Cheese. Hi, Cheese. He's very fat. But the Tespo set up just perfectly around the carpet.
Yeah.
And all of them are bent like so.
Yeah.
What not to do.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, mine fell apart. Mine actually, the plastic cracked from so much like bleaching with like ringworm, and you know, I mean, I've just had so many litters in them and taking them outside and bleaching them and let them sit in the sun. They only last for so long, you know.
Exactly.
So I'll share the last 2 little tiny nibbles that I got. So the last 2 things we've got is the incubator. We have 2 incubators. This one on the screen.
That's at my house now.
This one is at Kim's house. This is before I rebuilt it. I just didn't feel like going to dig for a new picture, I'll be honest. But this is before I rebuilt it. I have since rebuilt it. It has a new top, new door, new window here, and has been deep cleaned. But it's basically just keeps them warm. It keeps them humidified. Works real well. We got it super cheap on Facebook Marketplace. Don't know how we scored that. Real great. And then last year, because Bonnie K gifted us a grant, we were able to purchase a really nice brooder, which is like a really large, nice size incubator that now lives at Amber's house. That one does not travel. This one that has been rebuilt is allowed to travel from place to place. So if needed, we can give it to other people, but Kim has kittens in it right now. It's great when you've got tiny smushies, but it's not necessary for bottle babies. It's just a bonus if you have the ability to have it. So we'll do our best to try and offer incubators if you take in bottle babies, but remember, you can always ask us if you take in a bottle baby, do you have an incubator available? Because sometimes we'll forget to offer it to you. And then I stole this photo from the kitten lady because I couldn't find any of my own, even though I know I have one somewhere. But this is a plastic tub, like a storage bin, like that you would keep Christmas ornaments in. And basically you just put the kitten in there, and that's where you keep the babies, and with a heat disc is in the middle, and blankets until they start using a litter box. And like, so it's great, and you can have multiple and like keep them in quarantined tubs. They're really small, and that allows it so that you don't have to like take up a bathtub, you don't have to take up any space, and that lasts for a good first 2.5 to 3 weeks until they start using a litter box. So it's a good option as well. But obviously you can use a ton of different things just as long as it's safe.
I also like the tub option because you can carry it around.
Yes, you can. You can keep the carry around. I also used to keep, I used to have a guinea pig carrier, which if you've ever seen them, they're much smaller than cat carriers. They're like very soft and like rounded, and they look like purses.
I have one.
And yeah, you do have one. I used to keep my bottle babies in that when I was traveling, because then I would just bring them with me from like, if I was going to go out for the day, like I would just bring all my stuff with me, and then I would bring my bottle baby with me. And like, I wouldn't bring it out in the store. Like I wouldn't bring it out of the kennel because germs, but nobody questioned my weird plaid round purse. They just thought it was a purse. So yeah, always an option to like keep it in that. Yeah, see, no one's gonna question your weird round polka dotted purse. They don't care. But like they're questioning your
that's kind of fashionable.
They're gonna question your cat carrier, but they're not questioning your round purse. They don't care.
I put this in the baby seat of Target with Charlie and nobody.
So, and then kind of on the theme of what we've been going on for intake. So this is like a bigger conversation. But you know, when you're first intaking kittens, do's and don'ts list. So, or kittens or cats. So when you first bring them in, I know you guys can all read, so I don't have to like read this off to you, but I think the most important one is like letting them decompress. So like a lot of the times they're oily and they're gross, or they're, you know, they're stinky from being in a smoker's house, or they're, you know, stinky from being in the desert or something. Unless they are covered in something that is dangerous, like fleas or motor oil or cactus, there's no need to give them a bath in the first couple of hours of them being in your home, unless they are immediately comfortable. Let them decompress. Like before you bring the cat into your home, like if Amber goes, hey, I've got a kitten, you go, okay, cool. Set up your area, decide what kind of a space you're gonna put them in, set up your bathroom, get it all good, go get that kitten, bring it home, make sure, okay, it looks good. It looks good. There's no fleas, there's no dirt in the ears, there's no craziness. It doesn't look like I need to call Melissa, it's not dying. Put it in the bathroom and just like give it a minute. Obviously bottle babies, we're gonna feed and stimulate to go to the bathroom, but like just give them a minute. Put them in the bathroom, put them in wherever you're sitting, and give them a minute. Once they've decompressed, like you've given them an hour or so, go sit with them, let them hang out. Maybe next day or 12 hours from then, you can give them a bath. If we're gonna give them a bath, it's got to be either like like a baby shampoo with like no dyes or like no chemicals in it, or it's got to be like Dawn dish soap. A lot of like the Kitten safe shampoos that have like the fragrances can be kind of irritating, so just be really careful that you're not getting like anything with like major fragrances. But Dawn dish soap is great because you shouldn't really be having to give them more than like 1 or 2 baths. If you are giving baths, it should be like spot treatment baths, unless they're like filthy, like rolling in their poop or rolling in their food, which some of them do. But like, a wet, warm cloth to clean the face is just as good as a bath to clean the face. Or, a wet spray to the bottom with the faucet is just as good as a whole bath. And then you don't have to get them completely dry and like dry out their skin.
Unscented natural baby wipes work well too for this spot clean.
The baby wipes are fine, but the dermatologist has warned us to not use baby wipes too much because they have oils in them that dry out the kitten's skin. So I have strayed away from baby wipes more in the last couple of years since the dermatologist has warned me that they're a little bit more drying, because they were causing issues for Hunter. And then she was like, you really shouldn't be using baby wipes for kittens in general unless you like absolutely have to. You should just use water. But I know that everybody has their preferences and like what they use. So as long as you're not overusing baby wipes, like every time that you make them go to the bathroom, it's a baby wipe, it's fine. But if we're using baby wipes every single time they go to the bathroom, according to the veterinary dermatologist, it's bad for their skin.
I use toilet paper. I just take a roll and I put it in a round bowl, plastic Tupperware bowl. And so I just pull off sheets to stimulate them. And then if they do get a little messy, and then at least once a day, I just take a warm, wet, like fleece cloth and just rinse their skin off, because they do, I notice like that my little babies that are, they're crawling, but they're belly crawling. So they are stimulating themselves. So they do get it like on the inside of their legs. So just to get the urine off of their skin,
oh, yeah.
So I just use the warm water.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you have to. I mean, you have to like rinse them off.
Mm-hmm.
But like you don't have to like do the full shampoo baths.
No.
But yeah, I used to use baby wipes incessantly because that's what
I did till you told
the Kitten
me.
lady said to do, and I hate to like call out the Kitten lady, but like that's where we all learned a lot of our first stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was by watching her videos, and like she knows what she's doing, but also like the dermatologist was like, look, even though they're water wipes, they still have the grape oil in them, and that oil is not great for their skin and can be really irritating. And you could be just doing more damage than necessary by like wiping oils off, like the natural oils, but also like adding an oil that's completely foreign to their body, and it's irritating. So just use water. And I was like, okay, fair. Because water wipes say that they're water wipes, but they're not. They're water and oil. So I'm glad that you said something about baby wipes, because
when I said it, I meant it like what you were discussing.
Yeah, no, totally.
Maybe it's like 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 they get it inside their foot, like their paw, like
oh yeah.
And they step in their own mushy crap, and you're like, oh my god.
I think your microphone is covered.
Mm-hmm.
My mic is covered. Really?
Yeah, I think if you have your phone set up on something, I think your microphone is blocked. But I think another good thing is like we get super excited about like introducing our fosters to like friends and family and stuff, and like forget that like they have feelings. And so we're like, and I know like I'm guilty of this back, you know, before I really started thinking about it. And so that's why I wanted to share it as well, is that like, I would get a new foster kitten and be like, you guys come over. I just got him. He's so cute. And like this poor little 4-week-old kitten, like just got 1, ripped from the street, 2, thrown into some random lady's house that's now like trying to force feed him weird food that he's never touched before. And now like all of her weird friends are coming over and like grabbing him. And it's just really overwhelming and very stressful. And so we just got to keep that in mind as well. And always like, you know, ask somebody in the group, ask one of your coordinators, like if you're confused about what type of food or litter they should be offered, ask us, because that's why we're here. We've also got it. Oh, nice. Sorry. Sorry. We've been dealing with diarrhea for Chompy for like a week, and he finally took a good poop in there and just came and told me.
At least he didn't bring it to you.
He brought the poop to me.
You're not a poop investigator. You're doing it wrong.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, just kind of keep them in mind. Friends coming over to see the new babies are great, but let your kittens decompress or your cat decompress first before you're kind of bringing them into that environment. And then remember that like everything is in the handbook. And
you miss a slide?
Me?
Yes.
No, I kind of brought this, and then I figured that we would just kind of talk about the other.
Like the disinfecting and stuff?
Yeah, I figured we would just talk about the disinfecting and stuff.
Okay. I was just looking on my phone because I was looking at them going, wait a minute.
No, I just figured we would talk about it. So like, when you first bring your kitties home, just like the handbook says, start Panicure right away. If you're confused about why we start Panicure right away, it's in the handbook, but your kitties are probably coming with some sort of parasite or exposure to parasite. Panicure covers literally all the parasites and Giardia. It's all listed in the handbook as well. So if you can get that started right away, and make a note of what day you started, because we're going to ask you eventually, so we can write it on their medical record. It's going to avoid that like diarrhea down the road. But sometimes sometimes we forget, which is fine. But as soon as you remember, even if it's 2 or 3 days after you get that kitten, try and get that Panicure started. It's just super important to make sure that we're covering our bases. And it's something that when I was talking with Dr. Cartenuto, who is our doctor that we like work really, really closely with, about different things that were super important when setting up the rescue and making sure that we were getting our medical taken care of appropriately. That was something that she was really stressing, is that she sees so many fostering rescues use the wrong dewormers or use dewormers that don't cover a broad spectrum. And so that if we could spend just a little bit more money on using Panicure and get it on board as soon as they come into the rescue, we're going to be killing so many more germs, and we're going to be preventing so many problems. Because if you take in a kitten that has Giardia or has like roundworms, or even just the eggs for roundworms, and you can give that Panicure before those eggs hatch, it's so much better than like waiting for the eggs to hatch, seeing the roundworms in the stool, and then having to go and deal with the roundworm infestation in your already very sick kitten. So like we can prevent the kitten from ever being sick by just giving them that 3 to 5 days of deworming medication. Kim, do you want to talk about like the going between litters and like the disinfecting? And Abby, since you guys added that to the list, since I missed it.
Well,
I missed it when I was originally making this list.
Yeah, well, you have it on the notes that you sent us. Yeah. It's really important when you're going, if you've got multiple litters, to remember to disinfect your hands. And even like a lot of times if I've got like cats that are in the 2-week incubation period that we have, I always change my shirt, or I wear an apron when I'm touching like the kittens that are in the 2-week period. So I clip the apron onto the onto its cage. So I have it there. So I'm handling them, because then I'm going and I keep my hand sanitizer in my kitten room, but I'm still wearing the same clothes. So if I have the apron on, I take it off. And then the ones that are running loose or in another cage that I'm taking out to handle, I'm always cuddling them. So instead of transferring germs from one to the other, I try to do that, or at least a t-shirt, an extra t-shirt, and I just pop it on over. And then not only, it's important to like keep your cage clean, so that, you know, if they do have diarrhea or they get poop on their cage, that I always take them out, put them into a smaller container, and then I really disinfect with cleaning up the biological matter, and then using either Kennesaw if I'm going to put it right back in, or I do a diluted bleach. But with the diluted bleach, you have to rinse it, and then you have to let it dry, and it does keep the odor for a while. So I tend to use Kennesaw, or was it Rescue? Some type of cleaner that as soon as it dries, it's safe to put the kittens back into it. And then I always dilute bleach all of my equipment after that litter is done. I take it outside, I rinse it down, and I sit it in the sun for, I keep it outside for a few days, just until the smell dissipates.
Yeah.
And I always use bleach when anybody has germs, when I'm doing the kitten laundry. I don't mix the laundry when it's ringworm and non-ringworm. I try to keep my dirty laundry for the cats separate. But whenever anybody has any type of infectious disease, I always use bleach in my laundry for them. And I put it on extra hot and an extra rinse to get that bleach out afterwards, so the smell isn't there.
I use bleach for all my kitten laundry, like kitten and cat laundry, just because that's how I always did it in the shelter.
Mm-hmm.
I also have added borax, especially with like ringworm litters. I guess borax, the powder, can like help with that. When I was,
really?
Yeah, because one of my friends had ringworm on her carpet that adopted kittens that got ringworm later, and I think her vet mentioned that to her for like the carpet. She's like, "What do I do for carpet?" So I did it to my clothes too, just because I have such hard water and whatnot. But I always use hot water. Always make sure I like dry it in the dryer with like hot too, to help with germs and fur and things. Because I noticed a lot of my blankets were like holding fur, like ringworm blankets, and I was like, Melissa, what the heck? Like, is it going to transfer? And she's like, no, like, you know, it's going through. But you know, I mean, for any germs, like I make a tub of bleach water. And then I use Kennesaw for everything else pretty much that I disinfect, like the playpens or my kennels that I keep them in, because that's usually what the shelters would use. Just be careful with products, obviously, like in the handbook it kind of goes over that, like don't use Lysol, and just be cautious of, you know, the what is it, like the smells and stuff, that's like open windows, so it's not like if it's a confined area, like turn vents on, things like that.
You can use the Lysol disinfectant that goes in the laundry though, because that does get washed out of the laundry, so it is safe to use. You just can't use Lysol like spray, or like you can't use like Lysol spray and then like let a cat like walk across it, because it absorbs through their paws.
Yep.
I can't hear you, Erica. I don't know what happened. Nope. Maybe jump out and jump back in? Nope. No.
Speaker died.
You're not muted. I don't know. Jump out and jump back in.
I wanted to mention
Oh, there you are.
Am I back?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You're quiet though.
Quiet?
Mm-hmm. I know. Weird. Nope. Okay. Jump back in. Another thing to note would be that we kind of put on here to go over would be to making sure that when you are when you're cleaning your space, to make sure that you are cleaning your litter boxes, like actually cleaning them, which I know everybody here does, but like I think it's good to like put in the recording that like, so I scoop my litter boxes every day, and then every like other week to every 2 weeks, depending on how many kittens I have. If I've got a lot of kittens pooping in a box, I'll end up changing the litter out like once a week to like every couple days, depending on how many kittens or like what it looks like. But like every couple weeks, depending on like how that box looks, you should be cleaning that box. So like Pepsi has been with me a long time, right? But like his litter box gets completely dumped and bleached and cleaned like every 2 weeks to avoid any sort of like germs. And it also keeps the litter box lasting longer because I'm cleaning out the ammonia from the urine from like eating away holes in the back of the litter box. Because ammonia from urine will eat through the plastic in the litter box if you let it sit there too long. So cleaning through those litter boxes are really important, and keep your supplies really nice and new. So keeping your litter boxes clean is super important. It also reduces germ spread. When you've got a kitten with diarrhea, the best way to reduce reinfection is to make sure that you're removing all ability for reinfection. So that includes cleaning the litter box all the time. I would say to put like a litter box liner in there, but I find that every time I try and use a litter box liner, they try and eat the plastic. So I just wouldn't use a litter box liner. I would just, if you've got kittens with diarrhea, put a very thin layer of litter, dump the litter box every couple days, clean that litter box really well, and put it back to use.
Or use the cardboard.
Put and if you can cut down like your Amazon boxes, cut them down to the size of your litter box and put it inside. So it's the size of your litter box. So you still have the plastic protection. Well, it's just easy to line it with something that you just pick it up and throw away, you know?
Yeah. Erica,
more importantly, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yay! Okay, so what I was trying to say before is borax is a drying agent. So it will also help, like if you have a flea issue, they dry out your fleas and they don't hurt your animals. So like if you want to put it on your couch, you let it sit on your couch overnight or on your carpet. Because this is happening in California. Borax and everything, it's a drying agent in the flea. It'll kill the fleas, but it doesn't do anything to your animals. And before I'm not hurt again, one more thing. Instead of the Lysol disinfectants, that stuff for in your laundry, use white vinegar. It's natural. It will not hurt your animals. Soak all your pet stuff in it for an hour or two and then wash it like normal. It does not smell like vinegar and it does not hurt your animals at all. And it's a natural idea. I use it on, I keep vinegar for everything.
That's what I mop my floors with.
It's perfect and it doesn't hurt anybody.
My cats roll in it like they're getting drugs. They're like,
oh, well, isn't that fantastic?
Yeah.
But again, won't hurt them.
Yep. What else did we put? Oh, collars. You can use collars, make sure that they're safe. Collars or shaving part of the kitten's fur off is okay. To track if you've got a bunch of kittens that all look the same. And it's super important to know which kittens are which and making sure that you know what kittens are who and that you don't just have like a glob of kittens that you're fostering, because You need to know for medical reasons. If one of them starts to act weird, you need to know who it was. And you need to know if that one ate this morning or if that one had normal poop. You can't monitor kittens if you don't know who they are. So a good thing to just note and maybe write down like, you know, brown kitten and like tell me the one with the brown collar I'm concerned about. And I don't care if you even don't know the name, but you can definitely just tell me what color collar you're concerned about. And we can just talk about blue collar all day. And then the 2-week quarantine. So I know it's something that always gets asked. It's very clear in the handbook that we have a 2-week quarantine between kitties being introduced to each other. If you intake a kitten this week on Monday, and then you intake a kitten on Saturday, and you want to introduce those two, you need to wait until that kitten from Saturday has been in your house for at least 2 weeks and been fully dewormed before you introduce them to each other. There are very few to little times that I'll say you don't need to do that. And it's usually when like it's an owner return from like a healthy situation where I'm just like, it's fine, go ahead. Like it's a returned cat, they've been healthy, they've been seen by the vet, they're good. There's no reason that this cat should have any, you know, issues. Go ahead and mix them back with everybody else. But it is so important to quarantine. If we could do a longer quarantine, in reality, you know I would, but it's unrealistic to ask anybody to do more than 14 days, but you know that I would ask you for like a 21-day quarantine if I could. But I think
because we have seen ringworm at 21 days.
But I think a 14-day quarantine is a good compromise. And it's very clear in the handbook. But I just know that a lot of people ask for it. So I wanted to, you know, put it in the recording, and that, you know, just make it very clear that like there is a 2-week quarantine way before you're mixing. But that quarantine does not necessarily apply to your healthy pets. That is up to you, and that is on you. If you would like to introduce your foster kittens to your healthy pets, that's on you. And if that foster kitten ends up having ear mites and gives those ear mites to your cat, that's on you. Sucks, but it's totally on you. And it's kind of the responsibility of fostering to like make sure that like your kittens are healthy before you introduce them to your personal animals. I will sometimes introduce my personal cats and my dog to foster kittens, just depending on the situation before 2 weeks, but obviously don't ever mix SACR kittens before 2 weeks, even though Aaron always tries. But he's like, when's the 2-week up? When's it up? But always whenever you're introducing, and even after the 2-week quarantine, just know that like, you know, we want you to introduce the kittens and cats to your home. Like we want them to be a part of your home, but it's also at your own risk, that like you need to be introducing them slowly so that like your dog doesn't try and eat your kittens. We need to be, you know, monitoring them so that like your adult cat doesn't beat the crap out of your kittens, and injure them. But allowing your adult cat to teach your kittens boundaries is completely okay. So there's that line, but it's all kind of at your own risk that we all take as well, but we are telling you that you're allowed to take, and that you just need to know that if you take them and something happens, that you need to make sure that you seek out vet care, and that you need to be making sure that your personal pets are fully vaccinated. And you should be letting your veterinarian know that you foster, because they will likely be recommending further veterinary care rather than just normal vet care, because normal vet care would just be like general vaccines. But if you let your vet know that you are fostering, they're probably going to recommend additional vaccinations and potentially like topical flea and tick medications to make sure that your pets are protected against those types of issues, or like protected against FELV, when a normal indoor cat that's not exposed to foster kittens doesn't need to be vaccinated for FELV because they're not exposed unknowingly. But your cats are exposed unknowingly if you're letting them be introduced. So it's good to have them vaccinated just in case. So
those brown playpans that we talked about earlier and that Alex showed, those are perfect for bringing them, your kittens, to socialize with your personal pets, bringing them into the space that your pets are in, but they're protected and closed, but they get to hear and see out the thing. They can smell, they get all the smells, they get all your house noise, all your stuff, but they still have, you know, their space. And it's a good idea when you're trying to integrate them with your personal pets.
Yeah. I
use it all the time. I drag that sucker down into the middle of the living room, and I put a pee pad in there because they're old enough at that point, you know, and I have them come down for a couple hours and, you know, just hang out. And then I just take them back up so that they can go in their space, use their box, do whatever. But now this little girl I have didn't want to wait for that option. She decided she was just going to bravely come down the stairs and get greeted by the, you know, big boxer who is more afraid of her. She cries because, you know, Kitten doesn't like me. I got hissed at, but still, she just marched herself down the stairs. It was like, oh shit. So yeah. So anyway, that was my little thing about the playpen. What are you eating, Melissa? What's that?
Chubbies.
Whose?
They're called chocolate chubbies.
Chubbies? What are they?
Aaron's mom makes them. I don't know. I've tried to replicate the recipe. I cannot. They're just like,
are they like
really
like a brownie?
Cookies. No, like super chocolatey cookies. And you eat them cold.
Ooh, I love eating things like desserts cold. Earlier while I was talking to you guys, I was sitting here eating mangoes frozen. I eat my mangoes frozen. That's the only way I'll eat them. I will not eat a fresh mango.
Aaron brought me cookies from his mom's house.
Oh.
What was your question, Christine? Or can you only ask over Messenger?
I have to unmute myself. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
So I'm curious, you know, when we had the waffle situation with the fleas, I'm curious if people do treat their personal cats who are typically indoor year round for fleas and worms, or is that something we just would do on an as need basis?
I don't. So I'll answer with my answer and then other people can join in. So I don't treat my cats for fleas and ticks. I don't give them topical preventative, mostly because I don't want to pay for it.
It's expensive.
Yeah, I'll be honest, they're indoors only and I don't want to pay for it. And I'm very careful about looking for fleas when I come into the home and then immediately removing those fleas from my fosters. And I've never had fleas on my personal cats. I do, however, treat my dog for fleas and for ticks. She gets preventative, so not treatment, but she gets preventative because we go to the dog park, we go on walks, all that kind of stuff.
Okay, that makes sense.
So if your animals are going outside or having contact with like outdoor animals, they should be. But if your animals are inside, it's up to you.
I mean, I have my catio because I know Christine asked about this too, since I have a catio, but like I still don't treat mine. Because they actually are outside, like dog parks, things like that, so they get their monthly stuff. But my cats, no. And I mean, they were dewormed as babies, but like unless they were like sharing boxes with kitties I knew like had something, or like, you know, I guess exposed to them when they would have fleas, then I would treat them. But for the most part, I don't do anything for my cats like that.
Yeah. I would say, when I first got my cat, when I only had one cat, I did do topical flea and tick preventative for about 6 months, and then I just couldn't afford it anymore. But I will tell you, cats get heartworm.
Mm-hmm.
So we are taking a big risk by not preventing heartworm disease in our cats. Mosquitoes come inside the home, and you know, as we know, like they're not immune to coming through doors, and cats get heartworm disease, and that's what topical flea, tick, and heartworm preventative is for, is to prevent them from heartworm. And so as a vet tech, I should be telling you that absolutely your pets should be on year-round flea, tick, and heartworm preventative. All animals should be, all animals that are eligible for it. So like rabbits, guinea pigs, you know, your cats, dogs, all that stuff should be. But I am also realistic in the fact that like I can't afford it. So
yeah, it goes both ways. And I know when we took ours in for their check, and you know, I mentioned that we have the catio, she said that yes, they should be on, you know, the whatever that, you know, the monthly thing, or Revolution I think is good for 90 days. But I don't know. I mean, I was just, I didn't really take it too seriously. Okay.
So it's not going to hurt your pets. It's all a financial thing. If you can afford to keep them on it, it's not going to hurt them. The selamectin, which is the main ingredient in Revolution, has been around for years, and is great. There's a reason it's prescription only. It's a beautiful medication, and it's very safe to use. It has very rare side effects, but it's also expensive. So
well, and you know, with Waffles, when I picked her up and, you know, I asked it pack, does she have fleas? And I was told no. I just took their word for it.
Oh, you can't trust it.
Yeah. And as a, you know, I still consider myself somewhat new in a way where I haven't been exposed to too many things. I had no idea what fleas even looked like. So she was kind of floofy, and, you know, I didn't notice anything at first. So when I noticed it the next day, then I saw the flea dirt, and I'm like, what is that? I thought the cat was really dirty. So from a standpoint of never having seen fleas, that was new to me.
Yeah.
So, you know, just, I didn't really know what to look for. I didn't, you know, completely part her hair and, you know, checked her over. I looked at her, I didn't see anything.
Yeah.
So that is something now going forward I have learned, and it's going to be completely different, but you know, it's the whole live and learn thing.
I think honestly with fostering though, that's how it kind of happens, is like, it's impossible to teach fosters everything that you should be looking out for, or what everything looks like. You know, we can tell you to look out for fleas, ticks, ear mites, you know, diarrhea, you know, inappetence, but every situation is so different.
Yeah.
And so a lot of us just learn. I mean, I learned what fleas looked like when I was 16, and I brought kittens home, and my mom was like, what the hell? There are fleas on this kitten. And I was like, what are fleas?
And you know, I am in my 40s. I have never seen a flea. I have never ever seen
I'm
a
from
flea.
California. I've seen fleas.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I know they're here
for everybody.
But they're not common.
Yeah.
Thankfully.
We had 2 kittens returned from adoption that came with immature ticks on them. And like, it's very rare to find ticks on a cat. And so to have these cats with ticks on them, super weird. They weren't attached. They were immature. They had no blood on them. So they're in them. So the person who returned the cats to us, I let them know, hey, you probably have a tick infestation somewhere in your apartment complex. So like that you need to let management know. Like you don't get ticks on a cat from just being alive. Like ticks go on a cat because they're looking for like the last source of blood. They don't like cat blood very much. So But yeah, I've also never, you also, kind of on the topic of what you were asking, Christine, I don't know about, I'll speak for myself, and I kind of think I know the answer for all you guys, but so I've treated ringworm a lot of times. My personal pets have never gotten it.
Mine either.
Mine haven't. No, I just got it.
Yeah, I got
so
it.
now I am definitely, I have PTSD. And it wasn't even my kittens. It was, we won't just, it was who shall not be named. And I'm scarred for life.
I've gotten it, but it goes away. But my personal pets have never gotten it.
Scarred for life.
Yeah.
Well, it's just ringworm. It goes away. Could be worse.
It's just
I've gotten it recently, and no other cat got it from me either.
You can get it from the grocery store.
All your children in your classroom.
You can get it from literally all the kids. Yeah, all the kids you teach.
Yeah. Yeah.
They probably are all covered in ringworm. But no, kids have it between their toes
and head lice and
they have it between their fingers and between their toes, and it's so easy to miss, and that's self-limiting, so it goes away eventually. So you just spread it.
They're petri dishes. Those children are petri dishes.
They are. Teach them to share, and then they share. They share their germs, all of them.
Yeah.
They put their nose, touch everything, the ball, then the ball goes to someone else, and then it's just, kids are just gross.
They share everything through
they said it'll be fun. They said.
Does anybody else have any questions or anything? I think we talked about everything that I wanted to pre-kitten season.
It is already kitten season for me.
It is starting, but be prepared. It's going to be crazy. But don't feel like you have to take more babies. Like, don't overwhelm yourself. Like, I've done that so many times because I'm like, I have the space. And then I'm like overwhelmed. But as a new foster, especially, like, just if you have 2 kittens, that's saving 2 lives. If you have 1 kitten, that's saving a life, instead of just like thinking you have to save them all. Like, there's a lot of other rescues around that will help them. Like, PAC gets help. The Humane Society is doing what they can. Just because their PAC isn't a death sentence, like, they'll get help. So the ones you see posted, I mean, just like help when you can, but don't feel like pressured, because I feel like a lot of people do that and they don't mean to. It just happens. I'm guilty of it. Like right now, those mom and baby she just posted, I want so bad, but I'm like, no.
I know, me too. I said no more mamas.
I want them so bad, but I'm like, no, I have to like disinfect, I have to clean, like I have to. So just like, but be prepared, because seriously, kitten season can hit us so hard. Like, I think it's coming. I just like feel like it's gonna be crazy. So,
and then if you're like, don't feel guilty if you have your limit, because then you're going to get burned out if you don't have your limit. And if you feel like, oh, I feel like I should be doing more, then help with transport or something. If somebody
like overnight,
to get their cat to the vet and you can't, and they can't do it, or just transporting a kitten, a foster to somebody or whatever. That's
a lot of times I transport when people can't make like their spay and neuter appointment in the morning, so I have them drop them off the night before. And they live in, the kitten just stays in my bathroom, and I put a disposable box on the floor, and then I can take them.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what I did last night. I had that kitten just overnight. Moving on. I've done that a lot of times, and like it feels good to still help them and try and get them out of their situations, like the ones I took a couple weeks ago.
What is that?
Alex, sidebar, so I don't have to text. Did you get your food yet?
Not yet. I get it. What'd you say, Melissa? The first?
Oh, let me look at my Chewy app.
I know you just told me the date, but
on that, and I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording.
Okay.